Adelaide's FIVEaa.
High cloud and 20 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust FIVEaa Extra. Norwood, Pirie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. FIVEaAextra.com.
Taylor Walker has spoken publicly for the first time over his racist comment directed at Robbie Young at a Sandford game last month. A 90-second video featuring both Walker and Young was released by the Adelaide Football Club late yesterday.
I've lost trust and respect from everyone, and I know that, and I've got work to do. I'm going to take some time away from the football club to let people heal.
Walker was handed a 6-match suspension last week. The State Transition Committee will meet again today. On the agenda is density limits, with pubs and clubs hoping for an increase from the current 50% capacity. Caps on gatherings and mask-wearing rules will also be discussed. The New South Wales Health Minister and State's top doctor have been called to give evidence to an inquiry into the Berejiklian government's handling of the COVID pandemic. Nine's Clinton Maynard reports.
Parliament's inquiry into the government's management of the pandemic hasn't sat since last year, but the gravity of the current crisis will see it reconvene today. Health Minister Brad Hazzard and Chief Health Officer Dr Kerry Chant have been asked to appear. They'll be grilled about why a lockdown wasn't ordered for the eastern suburbs at the start of the outbreak and the future of restrictions which so far the government has refused to provide detail on. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of residents of the state's north are now in lockdown. Stay-at-home orders now apply in Tamworth, the Byron Shire, Ballina, Lismore and the Richmond Valley.
Regional Victoria came out of lockdown at midnight, but Melburnians are still not sure if their shutdown, due to end later this week, will be extended. Pharmacies will be among the first places to offer the Moderna COVID vaccine. The formula has been approved by the Therapeutic Goods Administration and doses are due to be administered from next month. Pharmaceutical Society of Australia President Chris Freeman says they're already administering other COVID vaccines.
Pharmacies, like your GP practice, are really pillars of the community in most towns and centres, and you know, we've stepped up and put our hand up to be able to do this above and beyond the other services that we're providing.
A major study on climate change has produced some grim findings, but it's not too late to act. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report shows temperatures could rise by 1.5 degrees in just over a decade, bringing more frequent and severe natural disasters. The world can avoid a catastrophe with rapid action. Emissions Reduction Minister Angus Taylor says Australia is doing its part to reduce emissions.
We're going to beat our target for 2030, just as we did for 2020. We're absolutely committed to the Paris Agreement and its goals, but it's got to be done in a way which strengthens our economy, it doesn't weaken it. And that's why we're focused on technology, not taxes.
It's Census Day. The survey provides the Australian Bureau of Statistics with a snapshot of where the nation is and how it's changed over the last 5 years. Tessa Dickinson from the ABS says completing the census is compulsory.
It's really important that everyone completes the 2021 census because it tells the story of who we are and shows how we're changing as a country. It's used to inform many things, from planning schools, healthcare and roads to local services for individuals, families and communities.
Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $800 on selected Asco washer dryer packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. As we heard a little bit earlier, Adelaide forward Taylor Walker has apologised to Robbie Young, saying he's now going to take some time away from the club to allow everyone to heal. The former captain has been suspended for 6 weeks. One game last night with Melbourne withstanding a lightning break and a late West Coast surge to come out 9-point winners in Perth last night. Both teams were sent back to their change rooms for almost half an hour, 7 minutes into the final quarter due to lightning in the area. Coach Simon Goodwin says it was a difficult situation.
There were a lot of unknowns, like how long it was going to go for. Initially we got told 20 minutes. I'm not sure what it ended up being, but it felt longer. So we let them take a breather. We reset them, spoke to them, and then we got word we got another 10 minutes. So it was a difficult situation to go through, and one we'll obviously learn from. We could have done things in the last 10 minutes a hell of a lot better.
The win sees the Demons on top of the ladder, half a game clear of the Bulldogs, Geelong and Port Adelaide. To cricket, and Australia has suffered another embarrassing loss to Bangladesh, going down by 60 runs in their final T20 match in Dakar. Chasing 123 to win, the Aussies lost a staggering 6 for 9 to be all out for only 62. They lost the series 4-1. And at the Toronto Tennis Open, Isla Tomljanovic has been forced to retire against her French opponent, Fiona Ferrero, with the match all square at a set apiece. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A top of 20 and high cloud today. Rain tomorrow down to 16. Then Thursday a possible shower, also 16. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, we'll be talking census. Michael Sukkar, the responsible minister, will join us after 8:30 today. But also we'll be talking with Andy Lee, who launches a new show tonight on Channel 9 that's a little bit census-y. We'll talk to him about that before 7 o'clock. Yeah, I just made that word up. We're going off to a good start this morning. Then after 7 o'clock today, we'll speak with the owner of a pet that was found. You know, the lost and found. There's one up in our local coffee shop at the moment. Some poor people have lost their pet cat. This family's pet was found 750 k's away. Oh, now they can't get it back because of COVID border restrictions. Phil Curry after 7:30 in the nation's capital, and Simon Birmingham, the South Australian Senator, will join us to talk about financial assistance that's been rendered to local businesses that suffer a downturn in trade as a result of lockdowns and density limits. That said, hasn't really made them particularly happy. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Census-y. I like that word.
Yeah.
That might be our word for the morning. Census-y. It is going to be a census-y type of a day. Census.
I still have not received any correspondence from the government about the census.
Haven't you?
Oh, the only reason I know it's happening is because
I'm not sure where it is. I'll put it somewhere.
I've read it in the
my
paper.
study, i.e. buried under a massive pile of crap.
I've read it in the paper. I've seen it online. I know that it's on.
Don't you just jump online and do it?
Yeah, but you need they send you out a code or some such.
Yeah, right. Well,
I mean, you
that's what I've got.
can. My understanding is you can go on and get it sent to you another way, but I've not had no official correspondence from the government. Maybe I'll ask the minister personally. So, is this it? Is this my? You're telling me to do it?
Ours is going to be hilarious tonight. We're going to have a capacity crowd because it'll be me, Kate, the 4 kids, Mum and Dad come for dinner every Tuesday night, and my daughter's boyfriend. So that'll be 9 of us.
Oh, wow. You'll be kicking up the average household for all of Australia.
I think we're Amish.
Yeah.
They have big families, the Amish, don't they?
They certainly do. They have big families. Clearly so do the Penberthys. Do you
We
remember,
don't sit around
this?
making furniture or anything, though.
No.
We haven't got a
Mind
cart.
you do have an Amish take on technology. So
That's right.
actually,
Not deliberately, though.
The more you take about this, you're only a beard away.
Can you download that from the App Store for me?
Is that how they speak?
Yeah, I don't know. Do they? They don't really speak like that at all, do they?
Do you remember this day 5 years ago when we had the giant? It was a total disaster. Where the census crashed and
yes,
no
is that
one.
5 years ago? It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like that long ago, does it?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
That was a big period for things crashing.
Wasn't
That
a good
was the
period for
same
internet.
time when Optus had that disaster with the World Cup app.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was exactly
5
the same
years
time.
ago. Trevor's in Mawson Lakes called in about the census. Morning to you, Trevor.
Yeah, good morning, boys. We got the letter with a census number. So last night I go online. It starts off wanting your address. So got the address all right, put in a mobile number, and the next minute it sends me a new census number, which is not the same as what's on the letter. So
Maybe what you did, Trevor, was basically what I'm going to have to do tonight, and that's registered for a new one.
Well, I did get through to them and after ringing them twice, and I said, look, I've got the 2 numbers. Which one do I use? And they told me to use the one that you got when you logged. Well, you're trying to do it. So disregard the letter, but use the other one. So all you need to do, Will, is just go on. As long as you put your correct address and a mobile number, take it from there. And the whole thing, well, probably took me 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah, right.
And
easy.
A lot of it depending on what questions you answer. Sort of if you're not at school, where you get rid of all those things. So, yeah, it's really depending on your answers as to how long it'll take.
No,
Some things aren't applicable.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for the tip, Trevor. That saved me a lot of a potential headache tonight. Now I know. It's as simple as that. So if you're in the same boat as me, you just jump on and register that way with some simple
You know
details.
what I never understand? Why some people find the census to be a form of intrusion, and they get really upset about it. I suppose some people will so head up about their privacy that they think, well, I'm not telling the government any of this. Well, if you want like roads maintained in your area, or if you want a new hospital at some stage, I mean, if you live in Mount Barker, for example, and you're trying to mount the case for a railway line, which is pretty obvious even without a census, I would add as a qualifier. But it's the basis on which governments make decisions about who gets what.
That's right. A few people texting in, David, they want to make sure you do fill out your census correctly. They're saying you only put the people on the form who stay the night at your house, not the ones who come over for dinner.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to look not as quite as Amish as you did 5 minutes ago.
Oh, that's good. Well, I honestly tend into a really rollicking Tuesday night at our place and Mum and Dad pass out on the couch. I don't think that'll be happening.
Yeah, that's
not on a Tuesday.
It's bizarre that that's the qualifier. If they fall asleep on the couch, they're in the census. Yeah. If not, they have to go home and fill out their own. Actually, does that mean the best thing you can do tonight? I
fall asleep on the couch unless I get texts from colleagues at 10:30, 8 p.m. at night.
Funny that, isn't it? It's good. Yeah. Nice to get your alarm clock that goes off 5 hours early.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
So the real trick of census, if you do find the whole process a real pain, is to go to a friend's place and fall asleep on the couch. Oh, is that what we've established? Yes. Legally gets you out of the entire process.
That's how to get out of it.
So go and sleep over someone else's house. There you go.
One here from Samir in Dernancourt on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. Morning, guys. As you all sweat tonight trying to complete the census and have website congestion issues with the rest of Australia trying to get on, I'll be relaxing as I did mine on the weekend. By the way, it takes about 10 minutes per person. Good luck, Penberthy. Thank you, Samir.
Good stuff, Samir. All these very organised people.
Samir's a fitness guy.
Yeah, see?
Keen runner.
When you've got a commitment to physical health, he's already thought ahead. Because he's had to put in the census in between the glute session and then the cardio, and then later on he's done the back.
Probably a bit of healthy dining as well.
Back and buys, so you got to fit it in.
Very different approach at our place. I'm still recovering from the 10 push-ups I did 8 days ago.
13 minutes after 6, news headlines are coming up in just a moment.
Did you know that South Australia is home to the world's largest cattle station? At 24,000 square kilometres, Anna Creek Station is bigger than Belgium. True. And did you know that Automasters can carry out manufacturer's logbook servicing and stamp your books without voiding your warranty? Also true. So switch and save on logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Automasters, Australia's fastest growing automotive service and repair group. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Welcome to Amy's Everyday Arena, where competitor Keith is at the barbie. Oh my, a sausage is on fire. He makes a break for it, clears a hurdle of bikes and plonks that blazing bratwurst into the bin. Oh, and he's knocked over the shed. Luckily, when accidents happen at home, Amy can help cover it. Who helps cover the challenges of the everyday arena? Amy does. Optional accidental damage at home cover is available with Amy Home Building and Contents Insurance. Exclusions apply. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au.
I'm James Wohlers. Did you realise at Wohlers we still make our own timber furniture? We offer everything from bedroom and dining, right through to living and outdoor. We can even design custom pieces just for you. From our classic Victorian antique reproductions or our everyday Havana ranges, right through to our colourful boho furniture featured on Adelaide. If you have a passion for timber like me, come and visit one of our Wohlers showrooms at Mount Barker, Richmond and Tanunda.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words, Fleurieu Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, Fleurieu Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers, and for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words, Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
When you're gone, who gets your vintage 1951 Telecaster? Who gets the jewellery handed down from your great-great-great-grandmother? Who gets the other things that were precious to you? If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help protect your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com.
So now you know about the station property that's bigger than Belgium. You also know how to switch and save with Automasters. Logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service, guaranteed.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 after 6. Let's get into the news headlines on this Tuesday morning. As always, we appreciate you being part of the show. Already some terrific texts coming in on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. You can call us too on 8223 0000. The aged care sector is facing a worker shortage of at least 110,000 people over the next decade. The figure is contained in a new report by policy development group FIVEaa. It's found Australia is yet to prepare for the challenge despite numerous inquiries into our ageing population. Tonight's the night. Australians are urged to complete the national census. 3/4 of respondents are expected to complete the form online. Australians are being assured their personal data will be protected. Cyber security experts have rebuilt the system after an attack in 2016.
I just want to quickly read out this text from Annette on Facebook. I'm told that legally all you have to do is sign the form and send the census back. Is this true? Well, I don't know. I don't know, Annette. Maybe it's true. But that comment, though, that goes to the whole question of compulsion. And
yeah, that's right. Why the vaccine shouldn't be mandatory.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the moment you say to people, you have to do something, the instinct is, well, how do I get out of it?
Yeah. I'm not doing what they're telling me to do.
I've got to go. I mean, it only happens every 5 years, so I've got to reacquaint myself with the questions. But I don't remember there being anything in the census that I've gone, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Whoa,
it's like, you know, have you ever done anything weird in the sack? I can't remember reading that question. You know, how much money have you got, you know, in your wallet right now?
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's nothing. There's nothing.
What hours of the day do you leave your house unattended?
Hey, there's a great idea. Come up with the world's most appalling census questions. The world's most troubling census questions. Oh, that's good. I think my first contribution wasn't a bad one.
That was an excellent one.
Yeah, thank you.
The State Transition Committee will meet this morning to discuss COVID restrictions, density limits, caps on gatherings and rules around mask wearing will be on the agenda. We're not expecting anything to change today, are we? That's not my gut feeling.
I don't think so.
Doesn't feel like it feels as though right now cases east of us are as good as not as cases here, but they until something changes over the border, not much is changing here.
You know what's starting to really give me the the limit of 10 people.
Yep.
All we want to do is have a get together with my sister and her husband and their 2 kids. But if we do that with my parents,
you can't.
We're 12. Like, what's the difference between 10 and 12? We're not planning on having a holy festival in our house and inviting 7,000 other relatives over.
You did just declare your Amish earlier.
That's
so
true.
We'll have to check the census to see whether you're telling the truth. Australia's drug regulator is assessing whether Moderna's COVID vaccine is suitable for teenagers. Europe has recommended use of the shot in children over the age of 12. In Australia, Moderna will only be administered to adults from next month. Here's John Skerritt from the Therapeutic Goods Administration.
The data on the teenagers does look good, and we should be able to make a decision, again, convening the expert advisory committee within the next 3 or 4 weeks on an application for use in 12 and over.
Gee, there's a lot of duplication in the world of approving vaccines, isn't there?
Oh, it's crazy.
So every country does it independently. Germany says it's okay, the US says it's okay, the UK says it's okay, then a few months later Australia says it's okay. Oh, now we're going to wait to see if it's okay for kids. But meanwhile, Germany's already said it's okay. What are we finding that no one else is finding?
Well, this is me not being a biochemist, but knowing stuff that from inheriting a little bit of knowledge from the dinner table with my father. Some races have different reactions to different things.
Okay.
So that
makes
might
sense.
be part of it. You know, camphor, which is the key ingredient in mothballs and also for congestion. It's a waxy material. Apparently, Greeks and Italians have a really, really, really bad reaction to it. There's something in their genetic makeup. I remember that from being a kid. Dad said, because my grandfather used to make his own liniment. He was like a real ideas man, my late grandfather. Make his own goanna-style liniment. And after he died, I found all these bottles, and Dad said, "Oh, that's Grandpa's liniment," but it had methylated spirits in it, all this camphor, and he said that is, it would be illegal now to sell it. Not that he ever sold it; he used to make it in the shed. But yeah, Dad told me about this camphor thing, and there's other stuff that is really bad in Asian communities, or there's certain things that are more prominent amongst Jewish people. And it's not lifestyle, it's genetics. So that might be the argument about countries.
That makes sense. But then it feels like we're still reviewing. You know, there'd be something. I guarantee you some of the stuff would have been approved in Japan, and then we do it again. But it's approved in the US, but we're going to do it again. The UK. So
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that at this point in our process, the various ethnic groups haven't been covered by other countries that have already done it. It's just interesting. There's sort of this concept of, sovereign exceptionalism where it's only okay once we've said it's okay.
Worse in Australia, where it's almost a state-by-state thting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where, if you go to Queensland, apparently AstraZeneca is the swiftest way to the graveyard, according to old bonkers bananas governor to be Jeanette Young.
What happened to Queenslanders and, wrestling crocodiles and poisonous snakes?
I know. How'd they turn into a big pack of wusses?
I don't know. The British Prime Minister says the UN's new report shows we're causing potentially catastrophic climate damage. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change expect global warming to rise by 1.5 degrees within the decade if more action isn't taken. Here is Boris Johnson.
We must accelerate the global transformation. And at the COP26 summit in Glasgow in November, we need every other country to follow the lead of the UK and commit to net zero carbon emissions by the middle of the century.
Easy for them to say, isn't it? Tiny little nation like theirs.
Yeah.
But, Bojo, what about that? Hey, this is a terrific census-related line on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. Kim on Facebook says, I work in aged care, and I had to ask a 101-year-old man if he's actively looking for work. I'm thinking about becoming a window cleaner.
Well, actively is the word of question there.
Yeah, that's right. I think you'd have to ask if he's actively doing anything.
23 minutes after 6. It's 20 will be the top today. Today's a super day, it looks like. Bit of high cloud. The wind might be a little bit of a factor, 25 to 40 k's an hour, but otherwise it's going to be warm, which will be nice. And no rain, which is even nicer. Can't say the same for tomorrow, top of 16 and potentially up to 10 mils of rain. It dissipates by Thursday, but still cool, 16. Friday, 16. Saturday, 16 with no rain. Sunday, 18 will be a nice day. And Monday, 18 as well. Tom Wren's coming up in just a moment. We'll talk sport, including the way weather got in the way of a fixture last night.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Hi, Crystal here from Southside Suzuki. If you're looking for a feature-packed, sleek and economical car under $20,000, then why not consider the brand new Suzuki Baleno? Starting from just $18,990 drive away, the Baleno is loaded with safety and tech, including sat-nav, reverse camera and Apple CarPlay. Plus, it comes with a 5-year warranty and cap price servicing. Book your test drive today at southsidesuzuki.com.au.
Life's a beach, Southside Suzuki.
LVD 2009.
Now, you might think it's hard to get excited about shelving. Well, you'd be wrong, because that means you're not talking about Charmin shelving.
Don't even get me started. I got a nice text from Bill at Charmin Shelving last week. Through gritted teeth, he was making someone an Adelaide Crows-themed Charmin shelf.
So
big port man, Bill.
He'll set aside football allegiances for the purity of making a quality shelf.
He sent me a text and he said, I can barely even look at this damn thing. But to his eternal credit, it looked absolutely superb. This is what they do at Charmin Shelving. They put their allegiances above anything else, all in the pursuit of shelving excellence. Any time is a good time to get in touch with Sharman Shelving and get your workshop fitted out.
From workbenches, shelving cabinets, tool trolleys, open angle shelving, stainless steel benches, steel cupboards, even van and cool room shelving, Sharman Shelving can literally do anything, including made to measure.
So jump on their website and take a look, or visit their Facebook page. You'll be blown away with what the team at Sharman Shelving can do. I've got one, and they make the whole process so easy.
So if you're in business, Sharman Shelving should be your first go-to for a workshop fit-out. The possibilities are endless, even possibilities they don't want to realise, like Crows-themed shelves. Ask Christine or Bill for a free measure and quote. Jump online at sharmanshelving.com.au or call into 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens.
Whatever you fancy, you'll find it at FIVEaa. You'll find great deals right now. Here's Elise FIVEaa with her picks.
Exclusive to FIVEaa. Nitschke Julius Barossa Shiraz, 1990. Pick up James Bogue Premium Lager 24 packs, $49.90. Warm up with Maker's Mark Bourbon, $47.90. Hot special, Grant Burge NV Sparkling, only $20.90.
FIVEaa, your local independent SA family liquor stores. Conditions apply.
My name is Nitsu and I like St. Andrew's School.
St. Andrew's School is a place where I can learn, understand and grow.
They help me learn about my division.
My school is all these things and more. It's what makes it one of South Australia's leading primary schools. Hi, I'm Carl, school captain at St. Andrews. Book your place in our school tour this Saturday at 10 a.m. or Tuesday the 17th of August at 9:30 a.m. Just Google St. Andrews School.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
27 minutes after 6, Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us, saving at $400 on selected ASCO dishwashers. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Fellas, a bit of a throwback to the 90s last night, and that's because the West Coast Melbourne game was being played, and then the game was stopped in the final quarter because this happened.
There's lightning, so we're going to have to stop.
All right, so this is throwing a cat amongst the pigeons. You've just heard from umpire Matthew Nichols that the game has to come to a pause. Lightning has stopped the match in progress between West Coast and Melbourne. We were 7.5 minutes into the final quarter when umpire Matthew Nichols advised players to leave the arena because of lightning in the area.
So that was paused for about half an hour. Thankfully, everyone was okay. They came back, finished the match. But it got me thinking a throwback to the 90s because I was thinking of instances where football matches have been stopped for unusual events. This happened in 1999.
Well, you're not going to believe this. The scoreboard here at the MCG is on fire. We started out by seeing a small flame just above the clock, and that has grown in the last 30 seconds. This scoreboard could blow up. Make no mistake about that. This scoreboard could explode, and believe it or not, the players are out on the ground going through their warm-up.
It is, I don't know if it's playable now.
I didn't think I'd be too lost for words coming to Friday night footy. This is incredible, I must admit.
Sandy Roberts and Jason Dunstall there. Then in
Sandy didn't really want to pour water on the flame, did he? No. The scoreboard could explode.
Could explode.
He went full Kent Brockman on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Arnie Pie in the sky.
Arnie humanity.
Then in 1996, this one happened.
Well, amazingly, here at Waverley, in round 10, St Kilda playing Essendon, in Saturday night football, there has been some sort of power failure. 5 minutes or 4 minutes 47 seconds to go of the third quarter. The Bombers were leading by 20 points and the whole place is in darkness. There's now some safety lights pointing over the ground in front. We see the Essendon huddle with Kevin Sheedy. The St Kilda players are down with Stan Owls on the bench. Everything just went black.
Unbelievable.
I can remember exactly where I was that night.
Yeah.
Me and my sister and my ex-wife and I, my sister's then boyfriend, our husband, we all went to Wool Bay for the weekend and we were watching that game. You know, you just remember little weird things.
It's crazy. And they replayed the last 24 minutes of that game. They came out and played 12-minute halves, I think, later in the week, which was bizarre. And then in 1993, this is perhaps the most famous one of all.
Oh, there's a pig on the ground. There is a pig at full forward. This is extraordinary.
Like a...
what a magnificent tackle.
Sandy Roberts involved with a couple of those.
Yeah, Sandy.
That was Plugger, wasn't it? The pig had Plugger written on it.
Yeah, number 4 on it. And the one with Malcolm Blight, the one before, that was Malcolm Blight's, I reckon, first game where he was doing play-by-play calling. So he had that thrust on him as well.
Oh, that's rough.
Cricket had a pig. There were 2 pigs at the SCG that time too. One had Botham written on it, and one had Eddie after Eddie Hemmings, the chubby English spinner.
Yep.
Remember him, Eddie Hemmings?
Spinner, yes.
He was a funny bloke.
Played until he was about 40,
How do you get pigs into the ground? It's probably easier back then because you could take eskies.
Well, I think
You just punch some air holes in the esky and put the pig in there with
it was an era where bags didn't get checked.
With
there
your
was no
rashes.
line for bag checking on the way in, was there?
No.
You just walked in.
Pretty hard to get a pig into the Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, no, I don't think you'd have much luck these days. But
exactly.
Look, all was well that ended well last night. The Eagles Melbourne by 9 points, but pretty amazing scenes.
Absolutely. Go on, you ready?
Excellent, Tom.
Good stuff, boys.
Saved away $100 on selected Asco washer dryer packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
High cloud and 20 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
Taylor Walker and Robbie Young have put on a united front during a video message released by the Adelaide Football Club. The Crow is apologising for a racist remark toward the North Adelaide player last month. Tex promises to do better in the future.
I'm now going to educate myself, which is going to take some time because I want to be better for it and I want to influence people around me because there's no place for racism in society. I'm going to lean on you, Robbie. I'm going to lean on the AFL and others around me to support me.
Some red faces after a booking bungle linked to our COVID vaccine rollout. Yesterday, the Highgate Park Clinic, operated by the state government, offered jabs to people aged 18 to 39, but under 40s are not yet eligible. Deputy Labor leader Susan Close says there was plenty of people making an appointment.
More than 1,000 people booked in. That shows how desperate South Australians are to get vaccinated. And yet when we look at the statistics, South Australia is below the national average at every age group for vaccination.
All bookings made for this week will be honoured. SA's COVID restrictions will be under review when the State Transition Committee meets today. Density limits at hospitality venues will be assessed, with venues wanting an increase from the current 50% capacity. Restrictions on private gatherings, community sport crowds and mask wearing will also be looked at. Regional Victoria is enjoying its first morning of freedom after coming out of lockdown at midnight, but as Nine's Isabella Stikowski reports, there's a warning for Melburnians wanting to escape.
There's no ring of steel between Greater Melbourne and Regional Victoria, but 200 police officers have been tasked with enforcing the rules. They're equipped with number plate recognition technology and will fine Melburnians fleeing the city almost $5,500 if they're caught in the regions. Authorities, meanwhile, say the key for Melbourne to exit lockdown is the number of people infectious in the community, not the total number of cases. Contact tracers do have their work cut out for them, though. The list of exposure sites is now around 250.
This year's census will shine a light on how COVID-19 has changed Australia. Nine's Lucy Gray has more.
The pandemic is expected to cast a shadow over this year's national survey. Millions of Australians will answer questions on health, education and transport when completing their census form tonight. More than 3/4 are expected to fill it out online, and millions have already done it ahead of time. Those who don't get around to it tonight have the next few days to do it. The responses will provide key information for policymakers.
We're being reminded to strike a balance between screen time and outdoor exercise to protect our health. Nine's Lauren Howarth has the details.
An Australian-led study looked at 500,000 children across 42 wealthy nations, finding at least 2 hours of screen time a day can have an effect on mental and physical health. Boys were found to be able to spend more time online before suffering issues. Psychiatrists are concerned too much time on social media, online gaming and in front of the television can increase anxiety and depression. They say it's important to balance screen time with outdoor play wherever possible.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr. Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Well, as we heard earlier in the bulletin, Taylor Walker has apologised for his comments at a SANFL game between North Adelaide and the Crows, which occurred just over 3 weeks ago. Well, the threat of lightning strikes in Perth has caused a rare stoppage in the AFL last night, with the game between Melbourne and West Coast paused for 30 minutes. The game stopped for 7 minutes into the final quarter. Eagles coach Adam Simpson said the break came at a good time.
Bit of divine intervention, I thought. We were playing at the start of the last. We were trapped in our D50 that started that last quarter. I got a chance to address that and try and reset ourselves mentally.
Yeah, West Coast came out strongly after the break but couldn't rein in Melbourne, the Demons holding on to win the game by 9 points. Meantime, it's a big night at the AFL Tribunal, with Toby Green looking to overturn a 2-game suspension for a high fend-off on Geelong's Patrick Dangerfield. Let's go to cricket. Australia's been dismissed for only 62 runs in their T20 match against Bangladesh. Captain Matthew Wade saying it was not good enough for an Australian cricket team. Bangladesh claimed the series 4-1. And in some tennis to finish, Australian James Duckworth has recorded an impressive first-up win at the Rogers Cup in Toronto, beating American Taylor Fritz in straight sets. But Isla Tomljanovic is out on the women's side after being forced to retire at the end of the second set. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
High cloud and 20 today. Rain tomorrow 16. 16 again on Thursday with a possible shower. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
There she was, just walking down the street singing.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
She looked good, she looked fine, and I nearly lost my mind.
23 minutes to 7, coming up before 7 o'clock this morning. Andy Lee is going to join us. New show where they do this thing that it's really caught on with the federal government, where they're ask people questions about their lives and then compare the data. It's going to be more fun, I assume, the Andy Lee version, that is, not the federal government's one. They're calling it the census.
One of the questions they're asking people is, have you ever been arrested? I like that.
That's
not
good.
the census.
Not the census.
Not the census.
This
I'm
one.
sure the government already know whether you've ever been arrested. They tend to keep records of
I
that
would
kind
have
of thing.
thought. Yeah, you'd like to think they're across that. Hey,
it's not a trust system, is it?
No, that's not the honour system.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, this is interesting. Hey, It's Saturday's coming back for a 50th anniversary special. It's been confirmed that by TV Black Box that the show is returning. They pitched it to 9 where it originally aired. 9 said, nah, not interested. They then took it to 7, and 7 have decided to run with the idea. So there will be...
With the original cast?
With as much... Well, it's not confirmed. Daryl Summers will be part of it. He was a big part of the pitch.
What about Denise Ding Dong Drysdale?
I don't know who they're going to get back. Hopefully,
What about Aussie Ostrich?
I'm sure there's an ostrich somewhere in a warehouse that can be returned.
From the studios of Channel 9, entertainment capital of the free world, and on relay around the globe through Melbourne, Sydney, Canberra, Brisbane, Darwin, Perth, Adelaide and Hobart. Welcome to another 2 hours of madcap, shady, unpredictable entertainment.
It was... I mean, a lot of it hasn't aged particularly well. Hey, It's Saturday, to put it kindly. That said, geez, it's nice to thought that there was live television made in Australia.
Yeah.
You know, it was an era where there was nothing odd about flicking on the television screen at any point in time in the week, in prime time, and seeing something that was live being created out of a studio in Australia. And that just doesn't, unless it's the news, it doesn't happen here anymore.
There's a lot of things that haven't aged well. I remember about 2 years ago, I hunted down some Goodings episodes.
Oh, they would not have aged well at all.
No, to show to the kids.
Oh,
and
did you have to turn it off?
No, I watched it on my own, and in the end I didn't bother showing it to the kids because the kids aren't going to like this.
Yeah.
Like, there are some things that I remember that are still hilarious and have stood the test of time, but, gee, some of it's aged really badly.
I actually... It's really tough because... There's a permanency with things like video and film and that which they live on when the context is all dripped away, right? And so often we do this sort of retconning thing where people go back and will lambast people that contributed to something that doesn't hold up by today's standards, and it's the people involved who are bad and they should have known better and it was terrible. But all of those things existed with an audience full of people that enjoyed it. Like they endured and they were around because it wasn't just the creator that didn't have a sense of how things might be.
It was everyone.
It was everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's always just the individual that cops it. It's the stand-up comedian who made the joke in 1984. Who's the person who's considered the bad guy? It's never the 500 people that are in the audience laughing.
No.
And they did that show 500 times over the course of it.
It's never the 3 million Australians who had the original red-covered Rodney Roode live LP.
Exactly right.
I.e. me.
Yeah. It's
Actually,
always...
I would argue that almost every joke on that record has stood the test of time.
Stood the test of time is a different... it's a different metric.
I still think that record is genuinely hilarious.
Rob says Married with Children hasn't aged well on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. I have to go back and...
Do you know what, conversely, do you know what has aged really well, I think? The Young Ones.
Yeah.
I reckon that totally stands up to viewings in 2021.
That is a brilliant
so
comedy.
Clever.
It is.
It is so clever. When was it? It was earlier this year. I watched the episode where Rick wakes up in bed and realises that there's a woman there, and then decides to tell his other housemates that he's had a big and successful night, and it turns out the woman didn't even know he was there. She just crept through the window and slept in his bed. That is such a terrific episode.
Yeah. 19 minutes to 7. Police and weather coming up in just a moment. Our number is 8223 0000. You can text us just like Rob did and be part of the conversation on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line.
We are getting a lot of texts about Tex Walker, that is, on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. What about that for a tongue twister of a sentence? How did they get through that one all right? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Wally the Walnut says, what did you guys think about Tex's apology? Well done to Robbie Young for being there. You could see that Tex was struggling. We're going to play the audio after 7 o'clock and have a bit of a chat about it then. It's been in the news all morning. We haven't really thrown in our 2 penn'orths worth yet, but I don't even know what Will thinks about it yet. I don't even know what I think about it yet, to be honest, but we'll chat about it after 7.
18 minutes to 7. Coming up after 7 o'clock, Phil Curry in the nation's capital, and then a little bit later, someone who reports on South Australian Senator Simon Birmingham, who's also the Finance Minister. We'll talk to him about the financial relief package that's been announced yesterday for South Australian businesses that suffer some trading loss as a result of things like density limits and lockdowns. Dominic's on the line. Morning to you, Dominic.
How you going, boys? Just noticed you was talking about watching shows when you were a kid. When I was a kid, I used to watch a show called HR Puff and Stuff.
Oh, mate, yeah. I love that show.
And they had Jimmy the Flute and the Witch. And only not long ago, I thought, I'm going to watch it now that I'm an adult. And I put it on. I was watching it. I thought, this is the biggest load of crap I've ever... It's like, how could I even watch that when I was a kid?
Can I ask you, Dominic?
To watch it when you're an adult.
I don't want to sound like I'm, from the census, but how old are you? What are you, early 50s?
51.
Yeah, okay. I'm 52. So
Yeah,
we'll probably... I don't know which suburb you're in, mate, but I can remember being on the couch at Mitchell Park, being really excited about it, but I don't think I've seen it since I was about 7.
Yeah, put it on, mate, and watch it. You'll be thinking, what was I thinking?
The old witchy poo.
Oh, you know what, Dominic, I actually think it'd be more surprising if anything you liked when you were about 4, you ended up watching going, actually, this is sensational. You know what? Play school's right on. It still speaks to me today. That would be an odd position.
Do you know what I would die on a hill defending, though? And it clearly so beyond the pale offensive by every single modern standard, and I still regard it as like the foulest version of high art going around is Derek and Clive. Everything about those sketches, they are just the most pestilent burst of foul air. But there's something about listening to a Derek and Clive sketch where you just go, how did any of this ever get recorded and released? And I don't think that there's any sort of, cruelty in those 2 blokes, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. Certainly quite a lot of drugs and alcohol in them. But it's almost like surrealism. Like those sketches are so utterly, utterly bizarre. They started recording them as a private joke. And then all these bands like Led Zeppelin got all these bootleg copies of them. And they were distributed mainly through rock bands and roadies and so on.
Well, to take us to the break, here's something. Of course I have. Here's something for you and Dominic.
HR Puff and Stuff. Who's your friend when things get rough? HR Puff and Stuff. Can't do a little 'cause you can't do enough.
The Barossa Valley is a place where things mature well and the locals really appreciate good vintage, which is why it makes sense to make the vine change and call the Barossa home. Barossa Village in Angaston, Tanunda and Nuriutpa gives you the retirement lifestyle you deserve. 1, 2 and 3 bedroom homes are now available in safe, connected communities under an hour from the city. Mature well and let it breathe at Barossa Village. Find out more at barossavillage.org.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
Good leaders always look to support local, and they stay local. Like Leader Computers, Australia's largest Australian-owned PC manufacturer, based right here in South Australia. Having a world-class manufacturer of computers is a big win for our state, providing jobs and local support you simply can't get from overseas companies. Looking for the latest Intel and Microsoft-based computers at great pricing with the huge benefit of local support? Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
Living with osteoarthritis means living with pain, but SportsMed is changing that thanks to the revolutionary GLAD program. Here's SportsMed's Dr. Greg Keane with more.
GLAD is a 6-week exercise program performed in groups, and it continues to produce remarkable results for patients, even a year after completing the course. If you are struggling with the pain of osteoarthritis, visit SportsMed. Let's beat this.
SportsMed.
Start living life again, even with arthritis.
Sportsmed.com.au.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen with great deals on demos right across the range, all ready to drive away. And if you're impressed with our selection of cars, you'll love our service department with next day servicing, complimentary loan cars and breakfast or lunch on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au to see the range online. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
30 minutes to 7. Let's check in with SOPOL Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes on the line. Morning to you, Rebecca.
Good morning.
Now, this search is on for a driver at Woodville.
Yes, this happened just before 3:30 this morning. Police were patrolling the Kilkenny area when a white Mitsubishi Pajero took off from them. It was pursued at slow speed through the back streets before the pursuit was terminated, and a short time later the four-wheel drive was found abandoned in the Grove at Woodville. Police cordoned off the area and called in police dog Jax. Now, police dog Jax was able to follow a track from the vehicle through some rear yards and found discarded property, including clothing that may help identify that female driver. So far, she's not yet been found, but investigations are continuing there. And thank you to the people who live in the area of the Grove, Woodville. They had a bit of commotion in their backyard and looked out to see the police dog and handler running through jumping fences. So,
wow.
Yeah, thank you for their assistance there.
Absolutely. And don't tell me someone's done something unpleasant to the Sandy Creek Golf Course. That's a beautiful course, Rebecca.
Yeah, this was reported last week. It had been suspected that herbicide has been sprayed onto several of the playing greens at the golf course on Williamstown Road at Sandy Creek. It happened sometime in the past week. The damage was first noticeable on Friday morning, and then it was reported to police the following day. And it is the Barossa, so if you hear anything on the grapevine, please let us know. We don't know, what's happened there or how extensive the damage is going to be, because really time will tell how much the greens have been damaged and whether they can be saved. So if you saw any suspicious activity or vehicles near the Sandy Creek Golf Course in the past week, this has probably happened in the hours of darkness. Contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
What a mindless thing to do.
Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah, unbelievable.
Idiots.
Go on, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes from SOPOL. Let's talk weather. Vince Rowlands is on duty at the Weather Bureau. Morning to you, Vince.
Morning, guys.
So the headline temperature looks good today, but is it going to be? Is it actually going to be nice?
Look, it's not going to be too bad. Temperature-wise, certainly pretty good today, but probably not quite as nice as what we had across the city yesterday as far as the sunshine goes. There is a bit of high cloud just pushing across the city now, so it will, even though it's quite high, it will be cloudy, but certainly still expecting temperature to get to 20 degrees. It's currently sitting around 14 degrees, and our minimum overnight was 13, so quite a mild overnight temperature. So yeah, pretty nice out there, but a little bit of cloud around during the day. But things are expected to change overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. So we've got a trough and front moving across from the west. It's going to produce a bit of a rain band over the southern parts of the state. So we'll see some rain developing during the early morning across Adelaide. That does ease during the late morning, and we'll just get a little bit of shower activity around in the late morning and afternoon. But expecting falls in the sort of 3 to 10 millimetre range, a bit more up in the hills, and we're dropping the maximum temperature down to 16 degrees. So, yeah, certainly a pretty wet one to start with on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, Friday, we've got a couple of days of 16 degrees and just a possible shower around on both days. Not much in it, though, only up to a millimetre or so. And then on the weekend, we start to fine up. So 16, maybe a little bit of fog around in the morning on Saturday, 18 for Sunday, and then 18 again on Monday with a possible shower around.
Good stuff, Vince. Thanks for that.
Senior forecaster Vince Rowlands at the Weather Bureau.
There's a really interesting poll and a very reassuring poll in today's Australian, not about damn politics, but it's about vaccinations. Now, almost everyone I know just wants to get vaccinated. Yep. And we saw that yesterday with the Highgate Clinic story. We're going to be doing that after 7 o'clock. The stampede when word got out that you could get your hands on some Pfizer. But, you know, I've got friends who are not anti-vaxxers, although I did disturbingly find out the other day, to my horror, that a lovely bloke that I used to work with has now gone full nutso bongo anti-vaxxer on Twitter. But, you know, I've got a few mates who are sort of umming and ahhing about it. The vaccine hesitant. Yep. And we've talked about Atagi and the confusion that they've created. But the news poll today, and they've surveyed a whole stack of people, only 11% of adult Australians say that they will flatly refuse to get jabbed. Only 11%. So 89% of Australians, with a small but significant asterisk, provided they can be assured they're not going to get blood clots, 89% of people want to get vaccinated. Now, if the government's target is in the order of 70 to 80%...
That's reassuring.
As long as we can maintain supply, if you break down the figures a bit, these are statements you have to agree with. I'm fine with getting vaccinated using either AstraZeneca or Pfizer. 7% said yes. I've already received 1 or 2 vaccinations. 46% said yes to that. Then this one, this is the vaccine hesitant. I'm fine with getting vaccinated, but I'd rather wait until Pfizer is available. That's 33%. Now, the good thing about that too is those people might go, well, hang on, tell me about this Moderna one.
Yeah, well...
So that number could easily go from 33 to 15 to 10 to none.
Yep, and if you couple those attitudes with the data we now have about when vaccines will be delivered, it makes me far more optimistic about the idea that by the end of the year we'll have that 70 to 80% vaccinated.
Yeah.
If there's that many people that want it, by the end of the year supply is not an issue, we should be good.
Yeah.
We should be good, which is not something we've been able to say over the course of the last 18 months with much surety. It's coming up to 7 minutes to 7. Andy Lee coming up on his new show in a moment. But first, let's check traffic. We do so thanks to the wonderful team at Dave Potter, who are now Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
Good morning. Roads looking pretty good this morning, which is nice to see on the way to work. Simply a few roadworks to look out for today. Pasadena changed traffic conditions at the intersection upgrade of Goodwood Road and Dawes Road this morning. Speeds down to 40 k's. Speeds also reduced at Eastwood on Green Hill Road this morning. New asphalt's gone down there and no lines mark yet, so speeds down there as well. Look out for roadworks. Tapley's Hill Road near Trimmer Parade at Seaton. Both directions down to 25 k's. One lane closed. At Amard Furniture, buy one, get one half price on a huge range of sofas. Buy a selected 3-seater sofa and get the 2-seater half price. Rush into Amard. Sale ends Sunday. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. Bob Jane T-Mart's home of the big brands and the big deals. Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashbacks on brands such as Bridgestone, Pirelli, Continental, Yokohama, Goodyear, Dunlop, J-Trax and the Bob Jane All-Rounder. With Australia's largest tyre range from just $59, our best tyre price guarantee and biggest alloy wheel choice from only $125, we'll look after you.
T's and C's apply.
Well, I guess this is it. You know, I see a lot of myself in you. You're strong. You've got great lines. And you're pretty good looking for a veranda. Anyway, don't forget me. I won't forget you.
At My Living Outdoors, our tradespeople take building Adelaide's best pergolas and verandas personally. It's hard not to. When you've been there from the beginning, design and council approval through to construction, we're there all the way. mylivingoutdoors.com.au.
Adelaide property values are at an all-time high. They grew by 5.9% in 2020 with really strong buyer demand. In some areas, demand is greater than supply, and vendors are regularly getting multiple offers for homes with sold prices well above expectations.
We know that our friends at Toop and Toop work across all suburbs, and we can tell you right now that in Maylands they're working with 4,247 buyers, in Unley with 4,788, and in Mile End with 4,331. And they are all searching for their perfect property in these specific locations.
If you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers Toop and Toop are working with in your suburb, visit toop.com.au.
Come on in. We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 85 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Well, David, I'm not sure if you're aware, but they're doing this new thing tonight where they're going to ask a whole bunch of people a series of questions. It's not the census. In fact, it's like the census, except this is going to be entertaining. It's a brand new show fronted by Andy Lee called The 100. It starts tonight after the block on 9, and he joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Andy, good morning to you, mate.
David, Will, I can't guarantee how entertaining it's going to be, but I can guarantee that it's more fun than the census. Not a high watermark, but we're going out with that.
Was any thought given, Andy, to whether instead of just doing 100 people, you could actually do 24 million people?
That's a huge screen. I mean, we had enough trouble getting 100 people on Zoom with their connections, let alone 24 million. But, yeah, it's going to be fun tonight. There's a huge screen, 100 people that represent a cross-section of Australia, all areas across the country, age demographics, cultural backgrounds, and get to poll them live on some of the things the census hasn't covered.
Do you ever go to the people on the screen live? Because it's given me anxiety thinking about it. I go into every Zoom meeting hoping I'll never get asked a question.
That's the beauty of this. When a stat comes up that you're perplexed by, you can go up there and find out more about it. Sophie Monk is on tonight. There's a bunch of guest panellists and a couple of other fantastic comedians, and their job is to guess what Australia thinks and feels. But it came up just in conversation that Sophie Monk didn't know who Harold Holt was. And I said, don't worry, Soph, I'll make you feel better here. Let's ask the 100. How many of you don't know who Harold Holt is? And sure enough, there was 8% of them, so she felt a bit better.
Only 8% knew who he was.
Only 8% didn't know who he was.
I didn't. Okay. Right. I was going to say. Where'd you find your 100? Were they Sophie's mates? So the sort of questions...
We found out a lot about Soph, though. Like, one of the questions was, do you look in the toilet before you flush? Now, I don't think the government needs that information, but maybe they do. That's why it's been left out of the census. I think it's an error. But, yeah, suddenly, when you see the panellists, like, putting in their answers, it reveals a lot about them as well. But where do you guys sit on that one? Do you look?
Oh, no.
Yeah, always.
No, Will, mate. Seriously?
I'll do an inspection. I think it's
important. I share a room with this guy 3 hours a day. But
that actually speaks to my level of cleanliness is greater. You turn a blind eye to what you don't want to know about. That's
right.
I think.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Well, if you're a looker, you're well and truly in the majority. 86% of us look.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Come on, David. You don't know what you're missing out on.
You're not really talking me around there. Hey, the one I really want to know, Andy, to the question, how many Australians have been arrested? What was the answer there?
Be bigger than you think on that one. And then you've got to be a bit careful sometimes when you go to the screen. That's why this thing's pre-recorded. Because you can head up there and chat to someone and then realise, we shouldn't probably put this to it.
Yeah, let's go to Pete, who's from Adelaide. Pete, you've just gotten out.
That's right.
Exactly.
We're crossing live again to the Goulburn Supermax.
Yeah, exactly. You've used your one phone call on us. We really appreciate it.
I reckon I can guess, Will, you've never been arrested. I've been cautioned.
Yeah. Yeah, you usually read them out on air every time you get any sort of official correspondence from police. Have you been arrested, Andy?
Yeah, but not charged. But I got arrested. There was a pub fight that broke out when we were in 20s. No, I'm not a fighter. But as the police arrived and I was kind of holding on to someone and getting punched in the face, they just grabbed me and put me in the back of a divvy bed. And
they thought this bloke won't fight back. That's easy.
Yeah,
that's an easy collar.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. That's the kind of insight we'll find out from you and about other people on the panel and indeed about ourselves in Australia. Looking forward to it, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, guys. Love being on.
Thanks, Andy.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
High cloud and 20 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Puri Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
Crow Taylor Walker has made a public apology via video following his 6-match ban for making a racial slur. The remark was made toward Robbie Young at a Sandford game. He joined Tex in the 90-second video.
I'm so thankful that you're here, mate, sitting next to me. Thank you for accepting my apology. You've shown huge courage and support for me. I want to apologise to you and your family, to the Adelaide official and his family, to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders and their communities for the pain, hurt and disappointment I've caused.
Questions are being asked about a booking bungle which will see non-essential under 40s given a COVID vaccination. More than 1,000 South Australians made a booking to get a COVID vaccine yesterday, despite not being eligible. A Department for Human Services clinic at Highgate Park accidentally opened up its Pfizer bookings to 18 to 39-year-olds. The error has now been fixed, but all appointments made for this week will be honoured. Queensland authorities are keeping a close eye on the COVID situation in northern New South Wales after the region went into lockdown. A COVID-positive man travelled to Byron Bay from Sydney. It's forced the Byron Shire, Richmond Valley, Lismore and Ballina Shire to shut down for a week. It's Census Day in Australia. Tonight's survey is completed every 5 years and provides government agencies with vital information with questions about age, country of birth, religion and language. Tessa Dickinson from the Australian Bureau of Statistics says the census provides an important snapshot of life in Australia.
The data collected from the census helps community groups, businesses and governments at all levels make important decisions about transport, schools, healthcare, roads and buildings, those sort of things. It's also used to help plan local services for individuals, families and communities.
Council workers in Brisbane South have removed a swooping magpie they believe attacked a man and a woman, resulting in the tragic death of their baby. Nine's Jessica Millwood reports.
They were walking at Glindeman Park in Holland Park West. The woman was holding her baby girl. She's ducked to avoid the swooping bird, fallen, and the little girl has hit her head. Her father called 000 ambulance crews, took her away from the park in a critical condition, but she later passed away at the Queensland Children's Hospital. Extra signage warning about magpie breeding season have now been set up in the park and a section has been cornered off. At least one official complaint by a resident about this bird had been made to Brisbane City Council prior to Sunday's attack.
Out-of-control fires continue to wreak havoc across Greece, with support from other nations joining the battle. Nine's Steve Marshall reports from London.
A Greek tragedy is unfolding on the nation's second largest island, Evia. More than 2,000 people were forced to flee wildfires, ravaging large swathes of farmland and towns. Nearly 600 fires have struck the country in recent days, during the country's most severe heatwave in 30 years. Locals say authorities weren't prepared. The Greek Prime Minister apologised, but ultimately he blames global warming. Firefighters from neighbouring countries have now joined local crews and volunteers in the trenches.
Now turning to 5AA's sport.
Save up to $800 on selected Asco washer dryer packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. As we heard a little earlier, former Adelaide captain Taylor Walker has apologised to Robbie Young and to the community with a video released last night. Walker has been suspended for 6 matches, which will carry into next year. One game to wrap up round 21 last night with Melbourne 9-point winners over West Coast. The result sees the Demons jump to the top of the ladder with 2 games to play in the season. But the match will best be remembered for the threat of lightning, which forced players and officials to leave the field with the game delayed for around half an hour. To basketball, Australian Josh Giddey has had a mixed start to his NBA career for Oklahoma City. He started impressively in his side's Summer League game against Detroit, throwing down an impressive dunk.
Giddey on the drive, and there's a way to debut. Giddey with the two-handed slam, and OKC on the board first.
Audio there thanks to ESPN, but Giddey then fell awkwardly on his ankle just moments later and was subbed out of the game at quarter time and played no further part. To cricket, and Australia's finished its T20 tour of Bangladesh in very ordinary fashion, going down by 60 runs to the home side. Chasing 123 to win, the Aussies were dismissed for only 62. Matthew Wade top scoring with 22, while Ben McDermott was the only other player to reach double figures with 17. And in some tennis to finish, James Duckworth is on court in his first round match in the Masters event in Toronto, and he's just taken it out in straight sets, beating American Taylor Fritz. Nick Kyrgios will be on court later this morning. And that's the 5AA sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
The award-winning team at Dave Potter and now Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Elizabeth Park, got traffic lights malfunctioning at Ifold Road and Main North Road. Pasadena, expect delays on Springbank Road near Gilbert Road for the intersection upgrade. One lane is out and speeds are reduced down to 40. At Eastwood, speeds also reduced there. Green Hill Road, that's due to new asphalt down. No lines have marked yet. And other roadworks, Golden Grove Road near Highgrove Road, Surrey down. Speeds down to 25 k's for a stop-go. It's time to complete your census. You can do it online, by paper or with assistance. Visit census.abs.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, Canberra. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
High cloud 20 today, rain tomorrow 16, Thursday a possible shower also 16. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 after 7. If you want Australia to get vaccinated as quickly as possible, make 20-year-olds eligible to get Pfizer and let them post about it on Instagram. It turns out that's a really quick way to get the stats up. That's what happened at a Highgate vaccination clinic. It wasn't meant to be. They weren't meant to be vaccinating people, but they got booked out in the process through the error anyway. We'll speak with Hannah Ford about it very shortly and get a sense of what and why that happened. And some of the confusion that's come through on the text line this morning about why some people who did get the appointment wrongly are still able to get vaccinated and others have had it canned. We'll talk about that. Also coming up in just a moment, the somewhat cheery story of the family who lost their pet. It was found 700 k's away, but now a reunion has been stalled by virtue of the border lockdowns because it got over the border. The pets they'll probably be charged with a COVID breach.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we get written up.
Exactly right. So we'll be talking about that. Cam Inglis had a great story on Channel 10 last night. We'll do that in just a moment. But first,
does it have to quarantine for 2 weeks?
I think it had. Well,
did it walk through Sydney Airport?
I think it did. It's been to a hotspot.
Dog
didn't turn up. Didn't get vaccinated.
It's a dog, isn't it?
No, it's a parrot.
A parrot. That's right.
It's a parrot.
Wrong animal. Yes.
It's a parrot. Now, we'll do that very shortly. 9 after 7. Let's talk about a crow, Taylor Walker. Yesterday, the club released the Walker sorry video. Late yesterday, came through after 6 o'clock with him sitting in a stand. Robbie Young from North Adelaide was there with him, providing moral support. And here's what Taylor Walker had to say.
Robbie expressed his feelings to me to sit next to me today. I'm so thankful that you're here, mate, sitting next to me. Thank you for accepting my apology. You've shown huge courage and support for me. I want to apologise to you and your family, to the Adelaide official and his family, to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders and their communities for the pain, hurt and disappointment I've caused. What I said was racism and it's totally unacceptable. I've lost trust and respect from everyone and I know that, and I've got work to do. I'm going to take some time away from the football club to let people heal. I'm now going to educate myself, which is going to take some time because I want to be better for it and I want to influence people around me because there's no place for racism in society. I'm going to lean on you, Robbie. I'm going to lean on the AFL and others around me to support me. Thanks, mate.
That was the video put up on the club yesterday.
I think that we should give Taylor Walker credit for trying to make this right. I think that the enormity of what he has done, what he said, has clearly hit him. I've got to say, though, the two people I am most impressed by in the past few days in this horrible story are Matty Nix and particularly Robbie Young.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that bloke,
yeah,
through no fault of his own, other than the colour of his skin, gets thrust into the middle of this garbage. And for him to front up yesterday and to do Tex, and Tex himself used the words, you know, courage and talked about how he didn't have to accept Tex's apology. He's done Taylor Walker a massive favour, I think, and he's shown himself to be a person of immense character. Now, clearly, Tex has said that he needs to work through what he's done and change his ways and learn. I think it's remarkable, the grace, though, that Robbie Young has shown. But I still think that the broader question of what happens now with Tex is very much unresolved, and you know, just it's going to be up to Matthew Nix. It should be up to Matthew Nix more than anyone, because he's trying to put together a new team with a new attitude. And you think about the Swan sides that he was part of, particularly in the latter years of his career when Paul Roos was coach. And Mickey O'Loughlin was there, and Adam Goods was there, and Brett Kirk was captain. It was all about culture. And, you know, is this going to drag on in the next year? Is this going to be, you know, round 3, the build-up is going to be, Texas come back and, you know, in his last year?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's still a big debate to be had about whether Tex just walks away completely, or whether that would, in of itself, be a failed opportunity for him to show that he has actually learnt and that there's a redemptive element to the story too.
I think that's the only part now that there's an intelligent conversation to be had about, because in analysing the apology and talking about it, I think we've all got celebrity apology fatigue. We've seen the PR playbook when it comes to the tearful apology, the all-in press conference.
It did feel like that too,
yeah, no, but I'm not even being critical of him or the Crows in that. There just seems to be that's what now is expected. There's a formula. You disappear, you do the rehab, you donate money, you come back later, you can try, you say the right words and the buzzwords. I'm not critical of them. That's the world. But the way the way we respond to that now is to kind of go, ugh. Oh, here we are, stage 2, are we? Right. So I don't think
you can't win.
You can't win, right? So you can't win.
I agree.
The question is what happens next, and I frankly struggle to see how he returns to the club. I struggle to see how he returns to the club when you've got, clearly reading between the lines, issues with players there, issues with some staff there. When you've got as much, the thing that tells you the temperature as much as anything is Brad Crouch saying at St Kilda. He's got teammates going, how can you be mates with this guy?
Yeah.
Now, this is a club and this is not just about people that are currently at the club. They've got NGAs, Next Generation Academy kids coming through next that have come from Indigenous backgrounds. I don't know how in the process of a few months that gets fixed. My hope for Taylor Walker and the Adelaide Football Club, because he is a legend of the club for what he's done on the field, is that sometime in the long-term future, this can be that he can have made enough of amends that he is around the club. But I struggle to see how that happens next year.
One thing I really want to call out, because I find it totally repellent, and it shames me and infuriates me that I barrack for the same football club as people like these, is there is a small but significant group of Crows supporters who blame the trainer for this. And you see them lurking in the big footy forums. I had some half-wit send me a message on Twitter the other day saying, why don't you get into the trainer on air? If not for the trainer doing this, none of this would have happened. You people are a disgrace. Seriously, good on Tex for apologising, not just to Robbie Young, but to the trainer and his family as well. What's that guy meant to do as a black man? You hear a comment like that, do you just keep rolling with the punches?
Yeah.
Is that the takeout message that if a trainer hears something that vile about his own people, is he meant to shrug his shoulders and go, oh well? I mean, stuff that for a joke.
Yeah. The fundamental thing that some people can't get their head around is that just because you hear it and then translate it into what you think is the equivalent language of offence to you, and you imagine how you might respond. There is a cohort of people that just simply don't understand that the weight that comes with that is generations of abuse. Because you've seen that word used in a direct way to your mum, your grandmother, your sister, your brother, your father, their father. It's not one swear word and one nasty comment in the moment. Which is how a lot of other people hear it and they go, well, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not you. You're not the person.
That's the same sentiment by which you say that Sister Rosa Parks was a damn troublemaker, and that there were plenty of other seats on the bus. You didn't need to make a fuss about it.
It's hard, but sometimes we've got to accept we don't know what it'll feel like, and we'll never know. All you can do is go, what does it feel like to the people involved, 100%. And they tell you, and you respond to that. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
That's the best we can do.
Yeah. 16
minutes after 7. Let's find out what happened to this Highgate Park vaccination hub. Hannah Ford was covering it for 7 News. It sounds like, Hannah, that young people at least are particularly keen to get vaccinated. So how did this all go wrong? Take us back to the start.
Yes. Good morning, guys. Well, this sort of wondrous Pfizer free-for-all was short-lived. We heard reports of people getting sort of wind of this loophole last week. But it all sort of hit a peak yesterday when it sort of went mental on social media. Everyone hearing that, yes, anyone could sort of book an appointment. It was like Christmas for anyone over 20. And we spoke to several people who went in without having a slip or anything and were able to just get the jab, even though it was a dedicated aged care and disability facility.
So how many people tried to get in there to get vaccinated, Hannah?
Well, by yesterday, we understand that hundreds had managed to get an appointment, like if not over 1,000 people. We spoke to people who worked in bottle shops, uni students, you name it, who were able to just go in and get the jab. But by yesterday, we understand that many people who had thought that they were going to get in and make an appointment were unable to because of this little loophole and this little mistake.
So the loophole and the mistake, I've heard this reported and spoken about in various different versions. There's the version that someone at the vaccination hub thought they were being told that they needed to broaden out the who was getting the vaccine, and there was a communication error. There's a theory too about there was open vaccines and they just wanted to get rid of them. There was an online booking issue. Which was it? What's the truth?
Yeah, this is where it gets a bit murky. I mean, the people that we talked to, they were told directly by staff that they'd been given a direction from SA Health to change eligibility and that their criteria had been broadened. And I even listened to phone recordings of the staff telling these people, sure, yeah, no worries, come in, that's what we've been told. We also talked to people yesterday who had been told directly by staff that there was an oversupply of Pfizer doses because there wasn't enough demand from people in the health sector and disability sector that were taking up this offer. We put these questions to the Department of Human Services and SA Health yesterday, but neither could give us a straight answer. And we were handballed sort of from department to department, SA Health saying, look, it's not our area. All we know is you need to have a form saying that you're from that sector to get the jab, talked to another department. So we're ringing Department of Human Services, who very late in the day accepted that there had been an error, but no one could really clear up how it happened, despite the fact that we were told by so many people that staff had told them that it was a direction from SA Health. So that bit is still very, very murky.
It's a great report, Hannah. Thank you. It was a fascinating story to watch it all unfold yesterday. Hannah Ford, 4/7 News on the Highgate Park vaccine stuff up. I just would caution to people, if you do happen to hear about, someone's stuffed up or there's an opportunity to sneakily get underhanded vaccines some way and jump the queue, a little reminder that there is a shortage in this country right now. Yeah. And a little reminder that we haven't got frontline healthcare workers or aged care workers all vaccinated, people who are eligible. And there's a reason why there's a little box at the bottom of the Book Now form that says, be aware of where you are. There's a structured rollout in Australia and be aware of where you are in it.
Yes.
Because if you're getting it early, it means someone who needs it right now isn't.
Yeah. That said, positive signs in the context of vaccine reluctance that, it's great. The demand is clearly there.
That's heartening.
You know what it is? It's people going, stuff this for a joke. I want to see my mates. I want to go to Bali.
Absolutely.
I want to see my mates and I want to go to Bali.
Yep, that's exactly
right.
And
they are perfectly fine sentiments to hold. However, there is a system.
That's for a reason. All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW. Opening soon. Visit glenelgbmw.com.au.
At Elizabeth Park, got a few traffic lights malfunctioning on Main North Road, both at Ifold Road and Wammer Road. Pasadena, expect delays on Springbank Road near Goodwood Road for the intersection upgrade. One lane is out and speeds are at 40. Eastwood, speeds also reduced on Green Hill Road. New Ashfield's gone down there. No lines marked yet. And look out for cameras on the drive-in today. George Street, Norwood and Grand Boulevard at Seaford Rise. What's for lunch? How about a burrito or bowl from Guzmani Gomez for just $9.90? Choose some delicious pulled pork, grilled chicken, slow-cooked beef and more. Just $9.90 at GYG. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, I'm a nurse in a public hospital. I see ambulances ramped and my emergency department overcrowded. I see patients suffering as they wait for a bed. And what's Premier Stephen Marshall's solution? Well, nurses' jobs have been made redundant. And now the Liberals want to spend $660 million of our money on a basketball stadium, rather than fixing our broken health system. Stephen Marshall's priorities are wrong.
Authorised by R. Martin, Australian Labor Party, Adelaide.
Hello. Frank Walker from National Tiles. Our family company has been selling the best quality wall and floor tiles from Italy, Spain and around the world for over 42 years to professional builders, tilers and do-it-yourselfers. The secret of National Tiles' success is the very best quality tiles at the guaranteed lowest prices every day of the year. So for immediate delivery of the best quality tiles at the lowest prices, rush into National Tiles or buy online now and save.
Hi there, I'm Grishma, a Specsavers optometrist. Did you know that every Specsavers is locally owned and operated by an optometrist, just like me? We believe eye tests should reveal more, not cost more, which is why we include an OCT advanced 3D eye scan with every eye test at no extra charge. Does your optometrist? Experience the Specsavers difference and book your eye test today. We're here to look after your eye health and keep you safe in store. Visit specsavers.com.au.
Are you over 60, home and contents claims free for the last 3 years and looking for a better deal? Buy new home and contents insurance with FIVEaa and you could receive $100 off for the first year. With a little extra savings, you can do a little more of what you love. Talk to us today on 13 50 50. FIVEaa. Get set, go. T&Cs apply. Offer ends 30 September 2021. Not available online. FIVEaa is an authorised representative of the insurer AAI Limited. Before buying this insurance, read the PDS. Call for a copy.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Baby, what a big surprise.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes after 7. I like the story Cam Inglis had on Channel 10 last night about a family who lost their pet. awful thing, family losing the pet. Put up the signs, where's it gone? They lost a parrot. It was found. Now, it wasn't found a suburb across or 2 suburbs across. It was found 700 k's across over in Melbourne. The problem being, now they can't get it back. Natalie is the owner of the parrot. Natalie, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How are we today?
We're good. What's your parrot's name?
Ricky.
Ricky. So tell us what happened. How did Ricky get out?
Well, the only way he could have gotten out was actually through our doggy door. So I don't know if he hitched a ride with one of the dogs or
Maybe.
I'm not sure.
Has he ever done this before?
No. He's cheeky, but not to this extreme.
What sort of... It's not an Australian bird, is it? Is it some sort of
No.
African bird?
No, he's a New Zealand parakeet. It's called a kakariki.
Kakariki. Kakariki?
Yeah.
They're super rare, aren't they? I've never even seen one that looks like that before.
They're fairly rare for Australia. Just they're only a tiny little parrot, so they're not, a macaw that's well sought after or something. So you wouldn't see very many of them here, no.
So, Natalie, how long ago did he disappear, and how did you find that he was across the border in Victoria?
So it's been nearly 2 weeks now, 13 days, I think. I have basically posted on every social media platform I can think of, and a person actually sent me a text message to post on a website called Parrot Alert, which is worldwide. So I, registered and put it up on there, and obviously Tom and his beautiful daughter Isla that found him, I think were aware of it, or the vet were aware of it and had a look on the website, and he was obviously the only kakariki missing in Australia. So he gave me a call and said that he'd found him and where he was, and yeah, it was a bit of a shock.
Now, you don't think he was trying to home back to New Zealand?
Well, he was going the wrong way, wasn't he? No, I would imagine when he, got out, and he loves to fly. The kakariki are well renowned for their aerobatics. So I would imagine that he sort of got out and thought it was great that he could fly, wherever he wanted, until about 10 o'clock that morning when it started hailing and blowing a gale. It was absolutely horrible. I was standing there watching the rain going, well, if he's out there, then he's in trouble. And I would say that he was probably looking for shelter, maybe under, the engine bay of a car, or, he could have flown into the back of a truck. It could have been anything. But I would imagine that he's only a very little bird. He would have hitched a ride somehow.
Well, we're good on that vet for giving you a call and finding him. Does he have to do 2 weeks in Tom's court before he comes back to home, or what's the story?
My mum said last night she's going to crochet him a little mask.
It should take her about 90 seconds.
Yeah, that's why I said you need like 20 centimetres of wool, and that's it.
That's right.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping I can get him back before all of this craziness is over, but I rang up SA Health and FIVEaa to try and find out, can I, meet at the border perhaps and get him. And I was told basically if I step a foot over the border, I have to do 14 days quarantine, test day 1, day 5 and day 13. And it's an interesting story. It just gets better because Tom and Isla, who found him, Tom's mother, the last lockdown in Melbourne, not this one, a few weeks ago, when she found out that the borders were being, closed down and they were going into lockdown, she decided to drive over to Melbourne so she could still go on her holiday, and left her car at the Adelaide airport. So when we were talking the first night, Tom was like, well, maybe we can work something out and I'll meet you at the border and I'll give you the bird and you give me the car. But that was without, thinking about the fact that it's all locked down and hard border closures. And
it's all tricky at the moment, isn't it? Well, Natalie, it sounds like it's going to have a happy ending, this story. Thank you so much for talking to us. It's just an incredible one. And good, well done everyone involved who did the right thing.
Never heard of a kakariki.
Yeah, neither had I.
There we go.
Good on you, Natalie. All right, let's talk sport. I love this interview that Rowie had last night. Toyota Land Cruiser 300 Series coming to North Point Toyota. Register your interest today. It is the North Point way. Rowie caught up with Paddy Mills' mum, Yvonne Mills.
Oh my God, how good is that?
Is amazing. It's amazing. It's unbelievable too. I'm still trying to process it all, actually.
Paddy just picked that team up, and I know you're a humble family, and so is Paddy. You'd hate me saying it, but his will, want, desire, and love for our nation and for that team and the Boomers culture, he put them on his shoulders.
I really don't know where that energy came from. It was amazing, and not only him, but players like Joey Ingles, Dante Sim, and Matisse Seibel. They just played a magnificent game in that last 4.5 minutes, and I stood up all that time. I couldn't sit down.
Yeah,
what a great interview.
It was. Terrific chat.
The parents were one of the high points of the Olympics.
They were. That was a
really
great
good.
part of the coverage, the way they integrated the parents and their reactions. Really enjoyed it. More from Rowie tonight. Thanks to Toyota Land Cruiser 300 Series. Coming to North Point. Register your interest today. It is the North Point way.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
High cloud and 20 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
The State Transition Committee will meet this morning to discuss COVID restrictions. Density limits, caps on gatherings and rules around mask wearing will be on the agenda. Tens of thousands of people across northern New South Wales are now in lockdown. The northern rivers, including the Byron Shire, Ballina, Lismore and Richmond Valley, have joined Tamworth in a snap one-week shutdown as case numbers continue to soar in the state. Well, the regions have been released from Victoria's sixth lockdown. Nine's Christy Sullivan reports.
Regional Victoria is officially back open after no coronavirus cases or exposure sites were identified outside of Melbourne. Under the new measures, a 5-kilometre travel limit is scrapped, retail and schools can reopen, while hospitality can have seated dining. Outdoor public gatherings are limited to 10 and home visits remain banned. Masks must also be worn outside the home. Melbourne remains under lockdown until at least 8 o'clock on Thursday night, with the state government saying no decision has been made as to whether it will be extended.
Questions are being asked about how a Highgate Park clinic came to be offering COVID jabs to the under-40s. More than 1,000 people booked their Pfizer jab at the state government-operated clinic yesterday, only to be told later it was a mistake. Hannah Ford from 7 News says jabs booked for this week will be honoured.
Department of Human Services accepted that there had been an error, but no one could really clear up how it happened, despite the fact that we were told by so many people that staff had told them that it was a direction from SA Health. So that bit is still very, very murky.
Taylor Walker has spoken publicly for the first time over his racist comment directed at Robbie Young at a Sandford game last month. A 90-second video featuring both Walker and Young was released by the Adelaide Football Club late yesterday.
I've lost trust and respect from everyone, and I know that, and I've got work to do. I'm going to take some time away from the football club to let people heal.
Walker was handed a 6-match suspension last week. A new global report shows climate change is intensifying, but the world can avoid a catastrophe with rapid action. Nine's Carrie-Anne Greenbank reports.
This is the world's largest report on climate change, involving hundreds of scientists and thousands of scientific papers. And what it's found is that human activity is unequivocally the cause of global warming. It paints a grim picture for the future, finding that the global temperature is set to rise by 1.5 degrees in 2 decades, leading to more intense heat waves, bushfires and droughts. And, for example, extreme sea level events are set to happen once a year rather than once a century. The report finds some changes are irreversible, like melting glaciers and rising sea levels. But it's not too late to stabilise the rising temperatures through deep cuts to greenhouse gas emissions.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is going to play Morticia Addams in a new TV series. It's an Addams Family spin-off for Netflix, focusing on daughter Wednesday. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected ASCO dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And we had a footy game last night, Tom Wren.
We certainly did, Mel. It wrapped up round 22. Melbourne beating West Coast by 9 points in Perth last night. The Demons kicked away to be 33 points in front before lightning suspended the match for almost half an hour in the final quarter. The Demons held off the fast-finishing Eagles resurgence in the final minutes to claim the win. Melbourne captain Max Gawn telling Fox Footy it was a tough final few minutes.
To be fair, we reset it and we had every chance to throw our best foot forward in that last quarter, and West Coast were coming, the crowd was loud. I had a pretty challenging opponent in that last 5 minutes as well. We can rise to occasions like that, so hey, we were able to get there.
Meantime, Toby Green will be in the spotlight tonight when he fronts the tribunal looking to overturn a 2-week suspension. That was for a high fend-off on Geelong's Patrick Dangerfield. Let's go to cricket, and Australia suffered a humiliating 4-1 series defeat in its T20 series against Bangladesh. The home side bowled Australia out for just 62 in 14 overs in the fifth match, recording a 60-run win. Stand-in captain Matthew Wade says it's hard to find any positives in the series loss.
To get beaten in the fashion we did, especially tonight, was not good enough from Australian cricket team, regardless of the personnel that we've got here.
And mixed results for Australia's tennis players in Toronto. James Duckworth had a first-up win, but Isla Tomljanovic was forced to retire with her match locked at a set apiece. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Glenelg BMW. Adelaide's newest home for BMW is opening soon. Visit glenelgbmw.com.au.
At Elizabeth Park, got a few traffic lights malfunctioning on Main North Road, both at Ifold Road and Wammer Road. Pasadena, expect a few delays there this morning. Springbank Road near Goodwood Road for the intersection upgrade. One lane is out and speeds are at 40 k's. Eastwood, speeds reduced on Green Hill Road, New Asphalt down there. No lines marked just as yet. And look out for cameras on the drive-in. Sheriff's Road, Morford Vale, Robe Terrace, North Adelaide and South Terrace in the city. Got the worst house on the best street? Talk to Burbank Homes, the knockdown rebuild specialist. Start fresh with a brand new build or even two. Visit burbank.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Heading for a top of 20 today with high cloud, rain tomorrow 16, Thursday a possible shower 16. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Taking time to listen can make all the difference. Farrell & O'Neill Funerals is a South Australian family company committed to guiding and supporting families at an emotional time. We value a lifetime by offering a compassionate, caring and unique service with attention to the smallest detail. Finding guidance through a difficult time can be comforting. Farrell & O'Neill Funerals, 8296 3134.
Sometimes a big deal really does make a big difference. At Weeks Homes, we're as good as our word. And when we say we're committed to showing South Australia what a better building experience looks like, we put our money where our mouth is. Right now, make your dream a reality with a $25,000 cash discount on all Weeks Next Gen homes. Weeks Homes. Discover different. Go to weeks.com.au for terms and conditions.
Renovators are inspired to transform their homes right now, so there's never been a better time to act with Adelaide Bathroom and Kitchen Supplies. ABK Supplies is a local and independent specialist, so they're always accessing quality new brands with exceptional warranties, which means even more renovation options. For dream bathroom and kitchen supplies, ask for ABK Supplies. Go to abksupplies.com.au or see the showroom, Lower North East Road, opposite Durnan Court Village.
Whatever you fancy, you'll find it at FIVEaa. You'll find great deals right now. Here's Elise FIVEaa with her picks.
Pick up James Bogue Premium Lager 24 packs, $49.90. Cracking value, Absolute Vodka only $39.90. Warm up with Maker's Mark Bourbon, $47.90. Grab a Jim Barry Watervale Riesling, $15.90.
FIVEaa, your local independent SA family liquor stores. Conditions apply.
Hey, do you want to go on a holiday?
I'm not going anywhere without a queen-size bed, full ensuite with separate shower, kitchen, washing machine and a heater. Hey, where are you going?
Dave Benson Caravans.
For your next holiday, hit the road with Dave Benson Caravans and start living the dream. Dave Benson Caravans, Australia's largest indoor caravan showroom. Grand Junction Road, Kilburn, or visit davebensoncaravans.com.au.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
20 minutes to 8. Breaking news from the Adelaide Football Club. They've just announced that Tom Lynch will not be offered a new contract, so his career as a Crow ends at the end of season 2021. A little surprising given his form, but not surprising if you consider where the list is at the moment. He's 30 years old. They've invested heavily at the point end of the draft in forwards in recent years. People like Riley Philthorpe, people like Darcy Fogarty, both first-round picks. So perhaps not surprising from that point of view, but his form had been good. And the fact that he'd come back into the side late in the year led people to believe, well, he obviously has a future. Why are you getting games into a guy if he's not going to be here in 3 weeks' time? So question mark, I guess, now about whether he plays in the last 2 rounds.
Does it point to a broader clean-out of older players?
There's not many older players.
Well, that's true.
So I think the only other one, Matt Crouch is out of contract, but I'm guessing they probably still see him as in his prime. But yeah, it's a really interesting one. It'll be fascinating to hear on all the analysis on Rowie Sports Show tonight about why and how and what it means for the future. So make sure you stay listening for that. Let's talk federal politics. Phil Curry from the Fin Review joins us. Morning to you, Phil. Sorry,
Hello.
Phil. I think we got you now.
Sorry, Phil.
Yep. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, thanks, mate. So, Phil, every week with 15 million Australians locked down and restrictions still in place in places like SA, we're clocking up huge bills for the damage caused economically by these lockdowns. Why is the Treasurer so optimistic?
It's glass half full. So, I mean, I think he's optimistic in terms of, once we get this under control again, which I assume we will at some stage, that we'll bounce back hard and fast like we did last time. So there's a whole bunch of data around that actually sort of shows that across the board the situation isn't as dire as it was last year when, Victoria was in trouble and the nation was locking down. So it's things like consumer confidence. It's the numbers of people who've sought loan deferrals from their banks again. It's only about 14,000 this time. It was 460,000 last time. There's some estimated $200 billion in, people's household and business savings that there wasn't there this time last year because people are just saving money. So there's a whole bunch of things like that. So when you compare what the numbers are now to this time last year, it's not as bleak. So when, if New South Wales sort of gets out of it one way or the other and everyone else sort of gets on top of this Delta strain, then we should sort of get back on our feet fairly quickly. So it's it's not great, the situation at the moment. It's people are having a terrible time, but the potential for getting out of it is probably better in an economic sense. And I think that's product of two things. We didn't have a vaccine last year, so that gives everyone something they can grab onto and get us out of this. And the government's they're sort of more practiced now at getting economic supports in business and income assistance. So maybe people don't feel as anxious as they did, or gloomy as they did in terms of the future.
Well, we often, people have been critical of the federal government, but there doesn't seem to be an end date on this. And maybe that's because it's an oversimplification. But I wonder if does the result of that survey suggest that at least business thinks there's an end date next year? The problem was 12 months ago we thought this could go on for years. Yeah. It appears now that business thinks it's not going to go on past the end of the year.
Well, the end date, Will, is now this plan that the Premiers and the PM announced a few weeks ago, based on the Doherty Institute, which said if we get to 70%, we can sort of open up. We get to 80%, we can open up a lot more and, get somewhere high above 80. So it's not a date, it's a target, right? So, and it's everyone's got a bit of skin in the game now, all of us, you, me, your listeners, the politicians. Like, the sooner we get to that number, that's now something. We didn't have that aiming point last year. We had a couple of plans. There was two times the National Cabinet released a 3-step plan towards opening, and that was all based on a date. And you'd have sort of certain things in place like contact tracing. And remember, the first one we were going to be open by July 28 last year, and it was going swimmingly. And then everyone was, we'd have suppressed the virus with contact tracing and hospital capacity and stuff. And then Victoria had their big collapse, and that plan fell over, and then they rejigged it for about I think it was Christmas. We're going to be open by Christmas, and that was going well for about 2 weeks. And then New South Wales had this outbreak on the northern beaches, and everyone else shut their borders in response. So, but this time we have, rather than say setting a date, we have a percentage of people that need to be vaccinated. So as soon as we hit that percentage, hopefully, the politicians and the health experts will make good on their predictions that we'll be able to live normally. So it's there is an end in sight now.
Do you reckon they will, though? I mean, can you imagine Dan Andrews suddenly in a month's time or 2 months' time going, well, we've had nine cases in Traralgon overnight.
Well,
does he go, all right, now's the time, Victoria, swallow hard. We're at 69, 73% vaccinated or whatever. Does that happen?
Well, they're going to have to. I mean, but it's not going to be uniform. So when you get to 70, for example, we go into this thing called Phase B. So short lockdowns will still be on the table. So you won't, you'll still be locking down for a week here or 2 weeks there, like we're seeing in Queensland or Victoria. So that will still happen. But once you get to 80, that's not meant to happen. So, but each premier will make their own decision, Dave. So I think the biggest holdout will probably be Mark McGowan in the West. He won't do anything.
I mean, does Steve? We were going to an election here in March. Does Stephen Marshall do that in January?
No, and Stephen Marshall's probably now the most cautious premier in the country because of this election. I won't rave and rant again about how he's locking out the ACT, but he's one of three that is. So he's overly abundant. He's overly cautious at the moment. So no, if we say we hit 80% in January, I still can't see Stephen Marshall letting anyone else to South Australia until he's through the election. But it's going to have to give at some stage. I mean, people are just going to not put up with it forever, are they? It's okay again if you sit and get you're being paid by taxpayers, you're a politician or the ABC or something like that to tell everyone else to shut their businesses all the time. But yes. You can't keep doing it. You just can't. I mean, I got a mate who's just up in Brisbane, and they shut down for a week and he lost $100,000 in business, and 3 weeks before they shut down for a weekend, he lost $80,000. And that's happening millions of times across the country. You'll just destroy the economy eventually. Yeah. So at some stage, people are going to not take it anymore. And if you give them a vaccine target and say, okay, you told us we could live with this, then you do it. You're going to have to do it. And we're just going to have to accept that people are going to die and get sick. But it won't be huge numbers according to that modelling. It could be as few as 16 people a year if we get everything else right. You're still going to have social distancing and snap lockdowns and masks and this stuff. That's not going to disappear, but you just won't be shutting down every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good stuff, Phil. Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review, 14 to 8. I've got a counter narrative for you on the whole. If that happens in January, is Stephen Marshall going to open up? What if we're at 78% in January and we suddenly get a week-long lockdown because we've got 2 cases in South Australia, and the 22% is comprised essentially of those that will never get vaccinated and people that just haven't got around to it yet? I reckon that could be potentially as unpopular as the alternate, which is to say, we're just opening up.
Yeah, so you've got more than three quarters of the community going, well, hang on a minute, I've got my 2 shots, I'm wearing a damn mask, I'm standing on this little square, little cross that's been painted on the ground, my local pub or Foodland or whatever, I'm doing everything that's expected of me, so, I think that's a really good point.
But I'm not sure.
And I hope you're right.
Yeah, that's me being glass half full. That could be just as unpopular a couple of weeks out from an election. But it'd be fascinating to see how it plays out.
I'll tell you who would be most unpopular with, traditional Liberal Party supporters.
Totally.
Because all the negative comments I've been getting over the last week have been from people who are generally hardwired to vote Libs, because they're free enterprise people.
People need to always remember there are 2 components to try and winning hearts and minds. You're trying to get as many votes as possible, but you know what makes it a lot easier? If your donors come to the party. And if your donors start saying to you 12 weeks out from the election, nah, we're not paying for that ad. We're not paying for that letter drop. We're not paying for those call flutes. That can be as big a factor as anything.
How much money do you think the AHA is going to give the Liberal Party next year?
Well, let's wait and see what their approach to lockdowns is in
the
first 3 months of next year. They
generally give it evenly to both sides.
I think there's a lot of moving parts. I think it's a really interesting story.
I mean, at least they gave to the undie drive.
That's exactly right.
Which is exactly what they should be doing.
That's right. No questions. They got that one right. 12 to 8. Let's check traffic. Thanks to the award-winning team at Dave Potter, who are now Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Plimpton got a crash this morning, Marion Road and Anzac Highway causing a few delays. At Wingfield, there's a breakdown on the north-south motorway near Cormac Road, that's inbound. Elizabeth Park got a few traffic lights malfunctioning there, Main North Road, both at Ifold Road and Wammer Road. And got a few delays at Pasadena, expect delays there. Springbank Road near Goodwood Road for the intersection upgrade, speeds down to 40. Cameras on the drive-in today, Penfold Road, McGill, Robe Terrace, North Adelaide and South Terrace in the city. When you fill up, make sure you fuel the feeling with Shell V-Power, the premium fuel designed to clean and protect your car's engine. Look for Shell V-Power the next time you fill up your car. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
SPC, food manufacturer, has become the first Australian company to mandate employees have to have the COVID-19 vaccination. Now, I don't think it'll stop here.
9 till 12 weekdays.
When you mandate something as a must-do, people just arc up because they're not making a choice, they're doing what they're told.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
If you've been looking for a battery to install at your home, the government's Home Battery Scheme rebate will soon be reduced, meaning it will cost you more to install an energy-saving battery. Speak to Westside Energy right now about securing one of the few remaining spots, earning you a subsidy of up to $3,000. The government's Home Battery Scheme rebate reduction could happen at any time, so you need to act now. The best side is Westside. Visit westsideenergy.com.au today.
G'day South Australia, it's Sheets here. Over the years I've seen some great South Australian teams, but the best has to be the team from BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. They've been looking after the state's hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. You can find them on Richmond Road with stock on hand from quality brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Hydac and Enerpac. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
My favourite thing to do at St Andrew's School is reading. I love coming to school and getting to try new things like viola. I love coming to St Andrew's School because I can make new friends.
My school is all these things and more. It's what makes it one of South Australia's leading primary schools. Hi, I'm Carl, school captain at St Andrews. Book your place in our school tour this Saturday at 10 a.m. or Tuesday the 17th of August at 9:30 a.m. Just Google St Andrew's School.
The Isuzu D-Max is born to play. With 4x4 terrain command, a rear diff lock and up to 800mm weighting depth on all 4x4s. Search Isuzu D-Max.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your weekly shop with great fresh offers. Like juicy in-season Aussie navel oranges, just $2 a kilo. Helping lower the cost of your weekly shop. Coles. Value the Australian way. Offer ends Thursday.
Want to be part of a retirement community designed around your well-being? At the 4 Lend-Lease villages across South Australia, you'll feel connected and safe, so you can focus on being happy. Search Lend-Lease Retirement SA for a personal appointment.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes to 8. We'll get to some more of your texts on the Telstra Storm Barker text line in just a moment. You can call in too and have your say 8223 0000. Let's talk weather, because on paper it looks like a cracking day coming up today. Chelsea Carey from 9 News is on the line. Chelsea, is it going to be as good as it looks?
It will be not too bad. It will be a little breezy though. We had the lovely sunshine yesterday and it was quite calm. So that was sort of the perfect day for getting out and about. Today you will notice the wind picking up at times, and there is a little more high cloud around. But it does sort of feel like in the last week or so we've turned a bit of a corner, sort of clambered out of the depths of winter, and we're starting to see spring on the horizon. So already it's sitting at 15 degrees in the city. We have a top of 20 on the way, but you will notice a little more high cloud around. These northerly winds are picking up ahead of a change. Now, that's set to roll through Adelaide tomorrow morning. It's looking like it will be quite a wet start to the day tomorrow, with this rain band set to sweep across the metro area early on. And then we'll have a few showers in its wake on and off throughout the day. So in total, between 3 and 10 millimetres of rain across the plains, maybe a little more through the hills. And we will feel the cooler winds tomorrow as well. So a top of 16 degrees on the way. 16 as well for Thursday and Friday. A possible shower on either day, but not looking like much at all. No more than a millimetre or so. So for the most part, Thursday and Friday should be okay for your outdoor plans. And then the weekend at this stage is looking like another winner. Mostly sunny and at 16 on Saturday, partly cloudy and up to 18 on Sunday. So all in all, a bit of a wet day tomorrow, but we do have some great weather for getting out and about this week.
Good on you, Chelsea. Chelsea Carey from 9 News with some good news on the weather. It's 6 to 8. Andy's put together a list this morning. Andy's list is the top 5 ELO songs. The reason being... One played earlier and everyone started singing it, and then the show started, and the very first song that happened today was an ELO song and everyone started singing it. So we're just going to hand it over. It feels like an ELO kind of day. Here's number 5.
Great choice. Should be number 1.
Excellent. Andy's list on this.
That is the most
Tuesday
random
morning.
ever.
I love it. That was fantastic. All right.
What about Jeff Lynn's hair? I love his hair. They should sell Jeff Lynn wigs at the Royal Show.
Everything about that
See,
was great.
they've set the dates. The show looks like it's actually happening.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, they got the signs up. They got billboards up saying it's starting.
All right.
September.
It's time for a little bit of Wallace Fog action. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing, and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Now, the latest news with Wallace Fogg. Good morning, early risers. This is Wallace Fogg with another 5AA news update. Inflation is in the news again, with an official report being released showing that the wholesale price of cocaine has doubled in the last month. A spokesman for the Drangheta drug syndicate said this makes it very hard for ordinary people to make ends meet, and blamed COVID-19 travel restrictions and Operation Ironside for the recent increase in price. He said, "We've always tried to keep cocaine prices competitive, but it's made very difficult when you have to constantly deal with government interference." Channel 7 today has released its long-awaited list of celebrities for the next season of VIP Big Brother. Reaction has been mixed, with most people on social media asking one question, and that was, who are they? Prompting some speculation that VIP now stands for vitally insignificant people. The one person who was recognised was Caitlyn Jenner, with a Channel 7 spokesperson responding, "Well, it's difficult finding a celebrity that comes from Australia." In other news, the Adelaide City Council has announced its plan to revive the struggling CBD. Initiatives including free parking in the city, widespread fee exemptions and new outdoor dining areas might see a resurgence of the city. One city councillor said, "This council is always ready to spring into action and to do what's best for the city. And this time all it took was a deadly worldwide pandemic and a collapsing economy." And finally this morning, a man allegedly robbing a bank in the CBD yesterday was arrested for not wearing a mask. I'm Wallace Fogg, and that's the news the way it is for this Tuesday. More 5AA news coming up at 8 o'clock, or as close as we can get.
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Breaking at 8 shortly, we'll have the Federal Finance Minister Simon Birmingham on to talk business assistance for incidents like reduced density requirements or lockdowns. That's after 8 o'clock. And then after 8:30, Michael Suka will join us to talk about the census tonight that you've got to fill out.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen with great deals on demos right across the range, all ready to drive away. And if you're impressed with our selection of cars, you'll love our service department with next day servicing, complimentary loan cars and breakfast or lunch on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au to see the range online. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Dedicated, warm-hearted, friendly. Does this sound like you? At Home Care Plus, we support people living with a disability, and we're seeking people like you to fill flexible, secure, casual positions. Home Care Plus will support you with any training you need and pay for it. There are fantastic opportunities managing or coordinating our support teams too. If you want to connect to others in need, connect to us first. Go to homecareplus.asn.au. Home Care Plus, a South Australian company dedicated to supporting the potential of others.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A top of 20 today and high cloud with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Puri Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
In breaking news, a lawsuit has been filed in the United States accusing Prince Andrew of sexual assault. Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Roberts says the Duke of York sexually abused her when she was 17. The lawsuit claims that she was forced to have sex with the royal 3 times on the orders of the late pedophile. The Queen's second eldest son has denied the allegations and previously stated he has no memory of ever meeting her. The State Transition Committee will meet again today. On the agenda is density limits, with pubs and clubs hoping for an increase from the current 50% capacity. Caps on gatherings and mask-wearing rules will also be discussed. Well, some red faces after a booking bungle linked to our COVID vaccine rollout. Yesterday, the Highgate Park Clinic, operated by the state government, offered jabs to people aged 18 to 39, but under 40s are not yet eligible. Deputy Labor leader Susan Close says there were plenty of people making an appointment.
More than 1,000 people booked in. That shows how desperate South Australians are to get vaccinated. And yet when we look at the statistics, South Australia is below the national average at every age group for vaccination.
All bookings made for this week will be honoured. Regional Victoria is enjoying its first morning of freedom after coming out of lockdown at midnight. Nine's Isabella Stokowski reports.
There's no ring of steel between Greater Melbourne and Regional Victoria, but 200 police officers have been tasked with enforcing the rules. They're equipped with number plate recognition technology and will fine Melburnians fleeing the city almost $5,500 if they're caught in the regions. Authorities, meanwhile, say the key for Melbourne to exit lockdown is the number of people infectious in the community, not the total number of cases. Contact tracers do have their work cut out for them, though. The list of exposure sites is now around 250.
And Victoria has recorded 20 new COVID cases today. Australia's drug regulator is assessing whether Moderna's COVID vaccine is suitable for teenagers. Europe has recommended use of the shot in children over the age of 12. In Australia, Moderna will only be administered to adults from next month. But Therapeutic Goods Administration head Professor John Skerritt is looking at younger cohorts.
The data on the teenagers does look good, and we should be able to make a decision, again convening the expert advisory committee within the next 3 or 4 weeks. On an application for use in 12 and over.
Taylor Walker and Robbie Young have put on a united front during a video released by the Adelaide Football Club. The Crow is apologising for a racist remark toward the North Adelaide player last month. Tex promises to do better in the future.
I'm now going to educate myself, which is going to take some time because I want to be better for it and I want to influence people around me
because there's no place for racism in society. I'm going to lean on you, Robbie. I'm going to lean on the AFL and others around me to support me.
Government officials are confident tonight's census will run smoothly after major technical dramas in 2016. The system has been rebuilt to better protect against cyber attacks and deal with increased demand. A global report is warning climate change is getting worse faster and urgent action is needed now. The UN has found global warming will likely increase by 1.5 degrees or more on pre-industrial levels by 2040. That's considered the threshold for more frequent and severe natural disasters. The UN's Environment Programme's Inga Anderson says now is the time for comprehensive action.
Governments need to make their net zero plan an integral part of their Paris commitments. They must finance and support developing countries to adapt to climate change, as promised under the Paris Agreement. They must decarbonise faster.
After 13 months in hospital, a baby thought to be the world's smallest at birth is heading home. The child was born in Singapore, weighing just 212 grams. She now weighs more than 6 kilograms. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $800 on selected Asco washer-dryer packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And some breaking news out of Westlake's, Tom Wren.
Yeah, there certainly is, Mel, and that is because Adelaide will not offer experienced forward Tom Lynch a contract for next season. The 30-year-old will play out the rest of the year, but says he'll now take some time to work out what comes next in his career. Melbourne has jumped to the top of the table with 2 games to play in the season following a hard-fought 9-point win against West Coast last night. It wasn't easy, though, for the Demons or Eagles, with players forced from the field in the final quarter because of a lightning storm. The match was delayed for half an hour before play resumed. The Eagles were much better in that final part of the game. Midfielder Dom Mashid says they started to take things on, which helped.
We don't want to wait till we're 30-odd points down to play that way. We want to start like that, and that's a brand of footy that we want to play. I know it's easier said than done. We speak about playing to win and not playing not to lose.
Meantime, Carlton co-captain Sam Docherty will undergo chemotherapy after being diagnosed with testicular cancer for a second time. To cricket, Bangladesh has won the final T20 match against Australia by 60 runs to claim a 4-1 series victory. Australia was bowled out for their lowest ever score in a 20-over international, all out for only 62, losing a staggering 6 for 9 in the process. And in some tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from next week's Cincinnati Masters, saying he needs time to rest. The 34-year-old will now turn his focus to the US Open, where he'll look to notch up a record 21st Grand Slam singles title. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now checking FIVEaa traffic.
The award-winning team at Dave Potter and now Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Plimpton, got a crash at Marion Road and Anzac Highway. Wingfield, there's a breakdown there on the north-south motorway. It's near Cormac Road. That's inbound and causing delays back onto the Salisbury Highway. Find another way if you can this morning. Elizabeth Park, got a few traffic lights malfunctioning on Main North Road. That's both at Ifold Road and Wammer Road. And look out for cameras on the drive-in. Baines Road, Morford Vale, Doothie Street, Unley and Graham Boulevard at Seaford Rise. If you're looking for great value on a great network, switch to Optus today. Get a huge 80 gigs for $55 and a month-to-month SIM plan. Visit Optus in-store or online today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Heading for 20 today with high cloud. Rain tomorrow 16 again on Thursday with a possible shower. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
More Australians die of heart disease than any other cause. Every day, 50 families are torn apart. And the heartache lasts a lifetime. But if you donate to the Heart Foundation, you can help us fund life-saving research to help keep more families together and end the heartache. Donate to the Heart Foundation today.
If If you've been looking for a battery to install at your home, the government's home battery scheme rebate will soon be reduced, meaning it will cost you more to install an energy-saving battery. Speak to Westside Energy right now about securing one of the few remaining spots, earning you a subsidy of up to $3,000. The government's home battery scheme rebate reduction could happen at any time, so you need to act now. The best side is Westside. Visit westsideenergy.com.au today.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 8, Breaking 8 is coming up in just a moment. Simon Birmingham shortly. We'll also talk census after 8:30. If you've got any questions about the census, we've got the Minister responsible coming on the program, so you can put them directly to the federal government and have those questions answered. 8223 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. It's time for Breaking at 8.
Well, you're never going to please everyone, I suppose, but it is well worth recording that there is still a hell of a lot of frustration in large sections of the business community about the extent to which small businesses, sole traders, little pubs, clubs, shisha bars, karaoke bars, tourism operators are going to be able to benefit from the assistance that was outlined by the state and federal governments yesterday. To their credit, they have at least tried to come up with something. It's a $40 million support package to help keep doors open. That's the headline in the Tiser this morning, predicated around grants that are going to range in value from $1,000 to $3,000. Now, we have, again, been inundated, though, in the last 24 hours with feedback from businesses who are setting that level of assistance against the reality of their incomings over the last almost 18 months now. And while people are going, well, yeah, sure, it's something and I'll take it, for so many of them, it is just the most minuscule drop in the ocean. I spoke to one business operator who said in total over the pandemic, it works out at $27,000 against 483 days of restricted trade. That's either hard lockdowns or restrictions affecting patronage. For this person, it works out at $55 a day in assistance, which they said to me is not even enough to pay for 2 hours of casual labour. Tourism as well is really feeling it hard. We spoke this morning to Dallas from Taste the Barossa, who said many tourism businesses are down more than 95% in turnover, and our staff are lucky to get half a day's work a week, yet we get very little state or federal assistance compared to the East Coast. And again, the issue here is because South Australia is not in a hard lockdown, it doesn't get, these businesses don't get the benefits or don't get the compo that you do if you're in New South Wales where you're under a hard lockdown. But if you're running bespoke wine tours in the Barossa for people who predominantly are coming from the eastern states, and all of that gets cancelled, I mean, Dallas showed us the figures. He's not making it up. He showed us his bank statements. He makes this point: what does the PM mean when he says we're all in this together? Or if you have a go, you get a go. He says, well, I'm having a red hot crack, and all I'm getting at the moment is grey hair and a bigger overdraft. So there's still so much more work to be done. We understand that, you know, government is not a bottomless pit, but undeniably, all of these decisions are just directly ripping millions and millions of dollars out of the pockets of all of these businesses combined. And they're still telling us that whatever assistance is provided is just not going close to covering what they're losing.
Well, we'll speak to Simon Birmingham about that in a couple of moments' time. You might be someone who runs a business listening right now that was miffed or maybe pleased by the announcement yesterday from the state and federal government in concert. 8223 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. We're happy to put your questions to the Finance Minister in a few moments' time. Let's check traffic, thanks to Dave Potter, who are now Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Plimpton got a crash at Marion Road and Anzac Highway causing heavy delays. That's on Anzac Highway inbound. Wingfield, there's a breakdown of the north-south motorway near Cormac Road. That's inbound and causing delays back onto the Salisbury Highway. Elizabeth Park, a few traffic lights malfunctioning on Main North Road, both at Ifold Road and Wammer Road. And look out for cameras on the drive-in, Kenahans Road, Happy Valley, and Penfold Road at McGill. Score $100 off your first electricity bill with Power Shop. New residential customers NSA. Conditions apply. Basic plan information documents are available at powershop.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Your son is an Olympic medalist.
Yes, that's what he had his eye on, and he wanted it for the boys in the team, for the past players. 65-year-old record.
4 p.m. weekdays.
That's what culture is, Yvonne.
Yes, and that's what the boomers culture is, and it's what it means to be a boomer and what it to represent Australia, put it for green and gold.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers. For very important reasons. Leader is local and exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company offering fast same-day delivery and setup. That's why so many organisations rely on Leader. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
Want to be part of a retirement community designed around your well-being? At the 4 Lend-Lease villages across South Australia, you'll feel connected and safe, so you can focus on being happy. Search Lend-Lease Retirement SA for a personal appointment.
To create a high-performance machine, equal parts art and automobile. That was the brief. Lauded and awarded like any masterpiece. There's always critics. But with 15 premium Harman Kardon speakers and the new bimodal exhaust, it's kinda hard to hear them. The new Kia Stinger.
Kia, movement that inspires.
More Australians die of heart disease than any other cause. It can tear families apart, and the heartache lasts a lifetime. Because when kids lose someone they love, they never stop missing them their whole lives. But you can help the Heart Foundation fund life-saving research and keep more families together. Donate to the Heart Foundation today.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your weekly shop with Coles Bomb Liquid Breakfast 3-pack and the Oral-B Pro 800 electric toothbrush, both half price. Coles, value the Australian way. Offer ends Tuesday.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 minutes after 8, we will catch up with the Finance Minister, Simon Birmingham, in just a moment. He's currently in a meeting with the Prime Minister and will join us immediately after that. If you've got a question about the financial assistance package that was announced yesterday, we're happy to put it to the Federal Finance Minister. But in the meantime, the State Labor Leader, Peter Malinauskas, has called in. Peter Malinauskas, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will, and good morning, Dave.
Peter, we're just saying in breaking at 8, we've had quite a lot of feedback from businesses who are still saying that they are going to still be doing it tough despite the package that was outlined by the state and federal governments yesterday. Do you think it goes far enough?
Look, the short answer, Dave, is no. Look, I think any support is welcome, and no one, I think, seeks to be gratuitous about this. But I think it did caught the industry by surprise yesterday because there was literally zero consultation with them at all from either the state or the federal government. Not the AHA, not the Business SA, not the Hospo Owners Collective. No one apparently was consulted on this package. And I've taken the time to talk to them, and they've made it clear that the once-off payment model, which is ad hoc, simply doesn't help them. What they need is some degree of certainty, which means which is why we proposed a per-day payment for as long as these restrictions are in and the turnover is down. Because as you guys have well covered and is, I think, well known throughout our community, the relative safety that we have in our state at the moment is because of the sacrifice of these businesses that have literally given up their livelihoods in the name of our health. And I think they deserve a lot more support than they're currently getting.
So what would your model be? So it would be a per-day payment. How much? Under what circumstances?
Yeah, well, what we did last week is we came out with a comprehensive package. And I'm sorry about the noise in the background. I can't avoid it, unfortunately. She's won and got hiccups and thinks it's hilarious. Anyway, what we proposed in consultation with industry is a per day payment. That is, for as long as we know that restrictions cap businesses at operating at a 50% level, and that there is a downturn in turnover of 30% or more, then they will be eligible for a per day payment of $100 for a micro business or between $200 and $500 for a larger business. And that per day payment, which won't, again, cover all the losses of these businesses, it would be simply something that allows them to plan. They need to be able to plan what's going on in the event that restrictions increase or decrease. And if they know what the structure is, they can account for that accordingly, whether that be through staffing arrangements or stock orders and the like. So we think that's a model that the government should adopt going forward. We've also advocated for liquor licensing fees for removal, more adjustments to land tax. All these things can add up to a comprehensive package that allow these businesses to get through the other side of the pandemic.
Do you ever feel, Peter Malinauskas, like you're appearing in your very own John Blake sketch, though?
Yeah, right now I do. And if I could find somewhere quiet to go, I would, but I'm in the car, so it's not really an option.
Good tactic. Would have been hard to make it a hostile interview under these circumstances.
Yeah, look, it's not ideal, but I'm not too sure I can do
No, well, you're all good. You're all right. Thank you for that. That's the State Labor leader, Peter Malinauskas. I think the interesting point was one made by Ian Horn yesterday in the reporting that there needs to be a series of payments that are triggered when conditions are met by the circumstances of the lockdown. For example, there would be a payment that comes in if you can only have 25% density. There'd be a different one if it's 50, different one if it's 75. In fact, I think if for 75, he's saying actually we'll get by. It's not ideal, but we'll go. But there would be different payments for, is it a 7-day lockdown? Is it a snap lockdown? Something that's a little bit more nuanced than simply saying, oh, if you're this period, you lost business, it's $3,000. Because it doesn't really reflect what's happening. And as I think he's made the point, and other business owners have made the point, and you did in Breaking It 8, that might be great. That might be great if you are a one-person job running a coffee shop in a corner, a little hole somewhere or on a side street in the in the city of Adelaide. But if you're a pub that employs 32 people, or a business that
or a karaoke bar that employs 7,
exactly right. What's it doing for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Precious little.
Hey, the real interesting email we got here from Anonymous. I work for the Department of Human Services. We received an internal email saying that other areas, other age brackets were now eligible for the vaccine at Highgate. I booked online and there were hundreds of appointments available. I now understand that it was an error to open up the booking according to the news report, but people booking to get their jabs are not knowingly queue jumpers. If there is a vaccine clinic with hundreds of spots available and few bookings, it makes perfect sense that they offer the jabs to people. Otherwise, they pay nurses to sit there and do nothing. Good point.
There's a little bit going on at the moment of you've got a mate who knows someone who can get you in somewhere because they're taking bookings that I don't like.
So what the worst example of that? What about all those la-di-da private schools in Sydney?
Exactly.
That are stockpiled through friends.
Like
friends in high places.
There are instances where it's late in the day and they'll say, we've got 3 jabs left over. They go in the bin if we don't use them. Who's out in the car park? Fine. But if you know someone who's booking you in, and you're 19, and you've got people who work in healthcare that can't, or people that work in aged care that are having to book in 3 months' time because there's no spots, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah. Conversely, though, what if you're 39 and you work, say, in a bottle shop, that is just doing a roaring trade at the moment with people, a lot of them older people who are vaccinated, coming in to load up on booze. You start of the lockdown, you think, all right, I'll treat this like a vertical tasting.
Yes.
But you're not allowed to get vaccinated. And then you look over to the cases in Queensland where overwhelmingly they were young people who had it. Or you look at the Sydney ICU statistics and you realise that there's a 20-year-old on a respirator.
But I'm not sure. To me, that's then advocating the total absence of control.
I'm not advocating it, but I think that's...
I get the humanity of it.
Understandable.
There's something fundamentally about getting a text or an email from a mate going, "Hey, I've heard this," that feels to me that it's wrong. If it happens per chance that you're there at the right place at the right time because they were going to go in the bin, great. But
very big of you, Will, given you can't get vaccinated yet.
Well, exactly.
I'm sitting here with my 2 AstraZenecas, still breathing.
Yeah. People make
when
their
are
own
you getting
judgment.
yours?
Well,
because it was a mate of mine
whenever
yesterday.
Well, it was interesting he said that, and I'd be interested to know what other people under the age of 40's experience has been. I've spoken to a number of people since that the Premier said, "Oh, well, you could go get AstraZeneca right now," that have said they tried to do that, and the GP said, "No, the Atagi advice is we don't give it to you," so they refused to do it.
Oh, really?
So I'm fascinated to know how people have been successful with that. Because
would you take AstraZeneca?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, wouldn't worry me. My wife has.
Well, yeah.
So I find I don't know. I'd be interested to know other people's experience because a few people have said, "Hey, you can't." I tried. Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
24 minutes after 88223000 is the number. You can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line.
Don't know what's happened to Burma.
Well, that meeting with the Prime Minister's clearly running long. In fact, I think Andy's on the phone to his office now. What we might do is just do Fuel Watch very, very quickly. Thanks to Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW. They're opening soon. Visit glenelgbmw.com.au. Petrol is expensive as we've seen for a long time. We covered it in Breaking It Out yesterday. There are some cheap spots. Lucy's done really well this morning. In the east, head to the OTR on Glenburn Road and Tranmere, $1.38. In the south, head to Lonsdale Road and Hallett Cove, $1.33 at the Coles Express and OTR. In the west, $1.37 along Brighton Road and Glenelg South. And in the north, it's $1.33 at the Caltex Woolies on Prospect Road in Blair Athol.
No one wants to spend their weekend in emergency. So if you hurt yourself on a Saturday or Sunday, Dr. Greg Keane says come and see SportsMed instead.
The doctors at our weekend injury clinic can treat any sporting or orthopaedic injuries right away. You won't have to wait all afternoon.
And a standard consult costs less than a private hospital emergency department, right?
Much less.
World-class care without the wait. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your injury.
sportsmed.com.au.
Eye health, unhealthy living. Thanks to Specsavers.
Karen Walsh is an optometrist with Specsavers. What makes someone unsuitable for contact lenses?
There are a number of things. So their script, if their script is beyond the scope of what a contact lens manufactured for, then that would be something that would impede their ability to wear contacts. But in this day and age, that's not really common. Contact lens manufacturers have a huge range available, so that's not common anymore. Somebody with extremely dry eyes or a pterygium, which is like sun damage, that's a little lesion you get on the side of your eye as a result of sun damage. If they have really badly controlled diabetes, their healing rate would be quite low. And then sometimes if they've got a history of maybe a herpes simplex infection in the eye or a history of eye infections as a result of contact lens wear, we might be a little bit cautious about prescribing them.
Specsavers, where every eye test includes an OCT advanced 3D eye scan at no extra charge.
Only 5 minutes from the city, save now at City Mazda. CX-5 Max Sport Auto Front Wheel Drive, $38,990 drive away. CX-3 Neo Sport Auto Front Wheel Drive, $26,990 drive away. They're in stock today and ready to be in your driveway tomorrow. Also enjoy the Mazda Moment mid-year sale event across the entire range. City Mazda. Go and see Daniel, Chris and the entire team at 432 Port Road, Hindmarsh, or visit citymazda.com.au.
MBD 182170.
There you go. Geez, I'm proud of you. Look how far you've come in such a short time. You'll be the talk of the street. Anyway, I know you do a great job. As a veranda. Because I built you. Anyways,
Stay golden.
At My Living Outdoors, our tradespeople take Building Adelaide's best pergolas and verandas personally. Because if it's not good enough for them, it's not good enough for you. mylivingOutdoors.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 minutes after 8. I hope it's not a bad sign, but the meeting between Simon Birmingham and the Prime Minister's continued. He's still in there. So we'll take some calls. 8223 0000 is the number. That's all right. We'll talk to you. We don't need the Minister. Stephen Seaford Rise, good morning.
Hey, mate, how you going?
Good.
Yeah, Will was just saying about how he hasn't got his injection yet. I'm down south in Seaford, and it'd be easier to get COVID than what it would be to get in to see a doctor to get the okay as an under 40 to get the injection.
Yeah, so what's your experience been, Steve? What's happened?
It's just the fact that we can't get into GPs down here. There's no one available, so it's because it's not classed as we're not dying.
Yep.
Can't get straight into a doctor. So even if we wanted to get the injection, they've made it so hard instead of just going as, I don't know how the over 40s do it, where they book online and they go straight to the COVID sites. But down here, it's just not available for the under 40s.
Because I think the process. So what you've tried to do is get to your GP, because I think then the GP can say, well, you need to sign this form if you want AstraZeneca.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
Yeah. And that's impossible to do, which is exactly the experience I've heard from so many people. Thank you for that, Steve. It's interesting you make that point.
Tom's texted in too from down south. He says, "Hi, Dave and Will. I'm a 36-year-old. I signed up for the AstraZeneca jab. I went into the clinic in Ranella. They changed it to Pfizer on the spot, and I'm now having my second Pfizer jab tomorrow."
Are there any rules?
It does seem to be the luck of the draw a bit, doesn't it?
I'm kind of torn on this because there's part of me that says, look, 70% is 70% is 70%. We want 70% of the adult population. We want 80% of the adult population because it makes it harder for the virus to get around. Fewer people in EDs. That's the whole point, is trying to get a sum total of people. But we're being told there's a structured rollout to make sure that the people that apparently need it most get it first. But maybe not.
Yeah. The other thing too is it does seem to be luck of the draw a bit with the GP. Whether you've got a real stickler for the advice or somebody goes, "No, you'll be right."
Yeah. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you just want as many people as possible to have it.
Yes.
But I just hate to think there's someone out there that's in a vulnerable spot that can't.
Yeah, exactly.
5AA News Time, 8223 0000 is our number. Now is the time to call if you've got a census-related question. And I've got an embarrassing census-related admission to make right after this.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
High cloud and 20 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A lawsuit has been filed in the United States accusing Prince Andrew of sexual assault. Lawyers for Virginia Roberts filed the lawsuit in the Manhattan Federal Court, saying she was assaulted when she was a minor at the age of 17. Prince Andrew has denied the allegations and has previously said he has no memory of ever meeting her. SA's COVID restrictions will be under review when the State Transition Committee meets today. Density limits at hospitality venues will be assessed, with venues wanting an increase from the current 50% capacity. Restrictions on private gatherings, community sport crowds and mask wearing will also be looked at. Victoria has recorded another 20 COVID cases today. 15 were in the community while infectious. Melbourne remains in lockdown, but regional parts of Victoria reopened at midnight. There's confusion and finger-pointing after a Highgate Park vaccination clinic started offering COVID jabs to the under 40s. Hundreds of people rushed to book an appointment at the Department for Human Services clinic yesterday, which is for disability and aged care sector workers only. Hannah Ford from 7 News says it's unclear who's responsible for the bungle.
The people that we talked to were told directly by staff that they'd been given a direction from SA Health to change eligibility and that their criteria had been broadened. We also talked to people yesterday who had been told directly by staff that there was an oversupply of Pfizer because there wasn't enough demand from people in the health sector and disability sector that were taking up this offer.
This year's census will shine a light on how COVID-19 has changed Australia. Nine's Lucy Gray reports.
The pandemic is expected to cast a shadow over this year's national survey. Millions of Australians will answer questions on health, education and transport when completing their census form tonight. More than 3/4 are expected to fill it out online, and millions have already done it ahead of time. Those who don't get around to it tonight have the next few days to do it. The responses will provide key information for policymakers.
More extreme heat, drought and catastrophic bushfires. That's the outlook for SA according to a damning new study on climate change. It's the most comprehensive report on the subject in 7 years. The UN finding global warming will likely increase by 1.5 degrees within the decade if urgent changes aren't made. We're being reminded to strike a balance between screen time and outdoor exercise to protect our health. Nine's Lauren Howarth has the details.
An Australian-led study looked at 500,000 children across 42 wealthy nations, finding at least 2 hours of screen time a day can have an effect on mental and physical health. Boys were found to be able to spend more time online before suffering issues. Psychiatrists are concerned too much time on social media, online gaming and in front of the television can increase anxiety and depression. They say it's important to balance screen time with outdoor play wherever possible.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected ASCO dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide is already making some tough calls ahead of the end of season clean-out, with the club revealing veteran forward Tom Lynch won't be offered a new contract. The 30-year-old was originally drafted by St Kilda, but has since played 157 games for the Crows, won a showdown medal in 2016 and was a key part of the club's grand final season in 2017. And one game last night with Melbourne securing the all-important double chance after holding off West Coast to win by 9 points. The Demons are now a strong chance to finish in the top 2. To cricket, and Australia's weakness against spin has been exposed again during a humiliating 4-1 Series T20 defeat to Bangladesh. The Aussies bowled out for just 62 in the final match, losing by 60 runs. Stand-in skipper Matthew Wade says it's glaringly obvious they need to improve before the World Cup in October.
Myself included, there's a lot of players in this team that we need to find a way to score runs in these conditions. We're not asking for big margins. We need to find 15 or 20 runs an innings with the bat more, and if we can bring them down another 5 or 10 with the ball as well, then we'll get ourselves in most of the games in these conditions.
Meantime, the Adelaide Strikers will be without bowling all-rounder Michael Neser after it was announced rivals the Brisbane Heat have signed him for the upcoming Big Bash season. And James Duckworth is through to the second round of the Rogers Cup in Toronto after recording an impressive straight-sets win against American Taylor Fritz. John Millman and Nick Kyrgios are about to hit the court in their first-round matches. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW, is opening soon. Visit glenelgbmw.com.au.
Hey, Wingfield got a smash on the Salisbury Highway as you're coming off the north-south motorway heading outbound. Plimpton, crash at Marion Road and Anzac Highway causing delays on Anzac Highway inbound. Wingfield, there's a breakdown on the north-south motorway. That's near Cormac Road. That's inbound and causing delays back onto the Salisbury Highway. And look out for speed cameras on the drive-in today. Baines Road, Morford Vale and Cooper Place at Hazelwood Park. Australia's newest streaming service, Paramount Plus, starts Wednesday. Get ready for a mouthful of blockbuster movies, new exclusive dramas and family entertainment. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
High cloud, a top of 20 today. Rain tomorrow 16. Thursday a possible shower 16. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Then I saw her face.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 9. Census night tonight. Census reveals a lot about us as a nation. Reveals a little bit about us as individuals as well. For example, in our household, we've learnt that it's my wife who always checks the mail. She's just texted saying, I don't know why you keep going on about we haven't got the census form. We have, but because I've been working from home, no one's checked the mailbox for the last couple of days, you clown. So we actually do have it. So stop saying it. So I will. That said, there are lots of people out there with legitimate questions about the census tonight, and I invite them to be part of the conversation. 8223 0000 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Assistant Treasurer Michael Suker joins us to answer them all. Assistant Treasurer, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for your time. I guess the first question, given that there's a sort of frisson of paranoia in the community about everything from QR coding to COVID apps and what have you, is what does the government use this information for?
Well, look, this information is used to inform a whole range of decisions of government, from infrastructure spending to health, education. Basically anything that the government is looking to do will be informed in one way, shape or form by answers that people provide in their census. And it won't just be for the federal government. This is data that's used by state and local governments, and in fact is used by a lot of community organisations around the country as well. So this is really important information that goes into decisions that are made that affect South Australians and indeed all Australians' lives for the next 5 years. So we really rely on a good turnout of information. We rely on 95% of people to complete their forms, and the good news is we've got a third of people who've already completed their surveys, 3.3 million, which covers about 8.5 million Australians. So we've got a third done, and I'm very relieved to hear that you did receive your form. So no doubt you'll be one of those that get yours in tonight. Hopefully.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. Now, the number one question we've got from people, in fact, I think we've got someone on now. This is actually a good sampler of what's coming in. Lucy in Golden Grove, what's your question for the Assistant Treasurer?
Yes, hi. We haven't received our census form, so does that mean we don't have to do it?
No, Lucy. If for some reason you haven't received your form, you can log straight on to census.abs.gov.au and you can complete it immediately. You can get it started. Or if you'd like a paper form, you can call the 24-hour hotline on 1800 130 250 and get a paper form. But no, everyone has to do it. And if for some unusual reason either you didn't receive it or you misplaced your letter, either get online or call that number and we'll get a form to you really quickly.
Are there any new questions in this year's census, Assistant Treasurer?
Yeah, there are a couple of new questions. So one question we're asking is for Defence Force service. We want to get a better picture of our veteran community around the country, where they are. Obviously, we know there's a range of issues we're trying to address for veterans. So knowing where our veterans are and a bit more information about them is important. And we've also added a new question this time around, which is asking about long-term and chronic health conditions. Again, such a large proportion of our health budget is taken up with, quite rightly, with people who've got long-term health conditions, and having a better picture of who they are is important. We try to always keep the census as short as it possibly can. You know, you can't just keep piling in new questions. So we've added 2 questions and we've removed one, which was a question in the last census, which asked if people had an internet connection, and given internet connections are ubiquitous, we thought that was redundant. So we've removed that. So it's one question longer than last time, but still should only take people, 15 or 20 minutes to get it done. So it's a pretty quick process.
What kind of assurances have your IT people given you that the system will hold up tonight?
Well, look, we've worked very hard. Obviously, we learned a lot from the 2016 census. We've worked closely with the Cyber Security Centre, the Department of Defence, ASD. We've worked very, very hard to try and ensure that this is a seamless process for people. We don't have outages as we had last time. Encouragingly, we have had a third of all surveys returned without any problems, touch wood. Obviously, tonight, during the day and tonight, there'll be, peak load on the system. But we're confident about how it will go. But, we never say mission accomplished until it's done. So we'll be working hard today and watching it very closely and responding to any issues. But touch wood, it's been a pretty smooth process thus far.
Good stuff. We'll all log on tonight. Good stuff. Michael Suker, the Assistant Treasurer, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Not entirely sure why I said good stuff twice there, but I did.
Yeah, well, no, you were obviously impressed with the stuff.
Yeah, just
was
good stuff.
Good amount of it.
Good stuff.
Now,
What about all that stuff?
Yeah, that's all excellent. Oh, no, rather good. 18 to 9. Now, the story that's really fascinated people this morning is the whole situation with regard to the Highgate vaccination clinic that is set up and dedicated for people that it's a human services run clinic for disability and aged care workers only. That's the point of it. But then somehow something happened yesterday where there was a miscommunication with the state government, that they thought they were broadening their remit, extended the invitation to under 40s, and it got up on social media. They booked out in seconds, and it turned out it wasn't meant to happen. One of the people that managed to get in was our very own Michaela Komarek, who is a 5AA newsreader. Who used to work with us on breakfast. Yeah. Michaela, good morning to you.
Morning, guys. How are we?
We are good, thank you, Michaela. So you've had your first shot now?
No, I haven't had my first shot. I got news that I could book in yesterday. I made a booking for September the 3rd. So technically now I can't get it, but I haven't received any correspondence from them saying that you can't. Like, I'm still booked in.
Okay.
How did you find out about it? Was it through Instagram and all the?
I found out via Twitter, and then I received the link from a friend. Booked in, put my email address in, Medicare details, and I was booked in. Got an email saying you're booked in for September the 3rd.
Because it was all totally above board. Like, they were the ones who said, come on, come and get them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think originally they were saying this because of the vials going to waste. We don't want them to go to waste, so why not open it up to the under 40s? And the fact that it went in seconds was showing that everyone's pretty keen to do it. And then, hours later, SA Health saying, no, you have to prove that you're a disability worker or an aged care worker, so you're not eligible.
So the only way you know that appointment isn't going ahead is based on what you've seen in the news, is that right?
Yeah, definitely. On Twitter, through the news, I still have the email and the confirmation in my calendar that I have an appointment booked for my first Pfizer shot on the 3rd of September.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's very strange, and you'd think it would be easier to just go ahead with all these people that are keen to get their shot rather than ringing them all separately and checking their eligibility. So yeah, it's quite crazy that all these people are keen, and for months now that the people over 40 have had the chance to get their shot. So why not just open it up to people under 40 now?
As a younger person, what's the thing that annoys you most about all of this?
Probably the amount of people that are eligible to get a shot, and they're not fazed by it. They just, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
It's like, the sooner we can all get the shot, the sooner we can open this country, the sooner we have our freedoms back. Because I know young people, I know my friends, we're all waiting. We're all just, we're keen. We want to get the shots because the sooner we can get it, we can get our freedoms back.
Yeah.
That's probably the most irritating thing, being a young person.
Yeah. No, well said. Good on you, Michaela.
Good to speak to you, Michaela.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, you guys too. See you soon. Bye.
Michaela Komarek, who reads news weekends, used to work with us here on 5AA Breakfast for a while as well.
There is a bit of a sort of self-centred attitude, I think, among some people who go, well, I've travelled enough, I've seen the world, I don't care now, we can just shut down and ride this thing out. If you've been on cruises and you get to an age where you feel like you've seen enough of the world, well, that's terrific for you. But we should think about it on behalf of younger people as well.
The only other thing I would say is that we still get lots of texts from people saying, I'm trying to get it and I can't. I've got to book in 3 months from now. So
we get them, but we still get lots of texts from people
saying,
I'm not going to take it.
I struggle just to pass the idea that there's a whole bunch of people that are eligible that can't get it, and there's a whole bunch of it that gets tossed out. And the mechanism that currently is in place to manage that is, if you hear it from someone on social media, then you get it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's working as intended.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
I think we need to speak to someone from the government on how this is meant to work.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very confusing at the moment. It's 14 minutes to 9. Now, Michaela, also, you can hear her during the sports show. Should have pointed that out with Stephen Rowe. not
Yes.
talking about her own vaccination record, rather. She delivers the news. It's time to check traffic. Thanks to Glenelg BMW, Adelaide's newest home for BMW. Opening soon. Visit glenelgbmw.com.au.
And Wingfield got a smash on the Salisbury Highway as you're coming off the north-south motorway heading outbound. Plimpton got another crash there. This one's on Marion Road and Anzac Highway, causing heavy delays in Anzac Highway inbound. Changed traffic conditions at Pasadena this morning. There's Springbank Road and Goodwood Road for the intersection upgrade. Speeds down to 40. And Wingfield, there's a breakdown on the north-south motorway. It's near Cormac Road. That's inbound, causing quite heavy delays back onto the Salisbury Highway. Might be a good idea to find a better way to work this morning. And while you're at it, drive through to McCafe. They've crafted a new blend that's smooth and rich with a hint of sweet berry. McCafe. Now that's coffee fit for an Aussie. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability, get world-leading safety, and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service, and hire, get a Toyota forklift.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
Years of service to the RV community has earned Jayco Adelaide a reputation for quality, value for money, and ensuring customers get the most from their RV experience. RV owners appreciate their loyal and experienced sales and support team that is passionate about fantastic products and lifestyle that's on offer. Jayco Adelaide service includes helping you choose the right RV for your needs, being ready with expert advice and assistance, keeping your investment in top working order. Nearly half the new sales come from existing customers who are looking to trade up to a new Jayco model, which shows just how important your satisfaction is to them.
We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. When we jump in the Jayco, jump in the Jayco.
Jayco Adelaide, here to help when you're ready to jump in a Jayco.
Hi, I'm a nurse in a public hospital. I see ambulances ramped and my emergency department overcrowded. I see patients suffering as they wait for a bed. And what's Premier Stephen Marshall's solution? Well, nurses' jobs have been made redundant. And now the Liberals want to spend $660 million of our money on a basketball stadium, rather than fixing our broken health system. Stephen Marshall's priorities are wrong.
Authorised by R. Martin, Australian Labor Party, Adelaide.
Great business starts when you're in control. With the Optus Business Connect plan, get up to 8 SIMs and up to 300 gig of data, all on one simple plan. Great business starts with yes. Explore the Optus Business Connect plan in-store or online today. T's and C's apply.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Down on the corner, out in the street.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
10 to 9, we're getting a stack of calls from people that want that number. If you don't have your census paper and you don't want to go online to complete it, the number to call is 1800 130 250. That's 1800 130 250.
Elkie on the text line.
Oh, that's the we got 2 numbers here. Which one should I read, Luce? One's the census hotline, one's the if you don't have a census form, and they're different numbers. We'll check it out in a minute for you, because there does seem to be...
Well, there's 2 census numbers.
Yeah, mine might be one for general inquiries or something.
Yeah, Elkie wants to know how to get your hands on a paper copy. If you don't have a census form at all, call 1-800-512-441. That's what we've been told by our good friends at the federal government.
We'll clarify that for everyone in just a moment. Let's Also, actually, we just got a text coming through. This is important. Rogers let us know there's an accident on the Port River Expressway by the South Road turnoff for all traffic towards Port Adelaide. So traffic heading north, traffic banked up to Port Wakefield Road. Police are there. Port River Expressway by the South Road turnoff for all traffic towards Port Adelaide. Okay, thank you for that. It's 8 to 9. Let's go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing, and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed,
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
And welcome back to 5AA Breakfast. And David Penberthy, welcome back to you too.
Yeah, g'day, Will. How's it going?
Very good, David.
Is there a problem with the way I say just?
The Port Adelaide Football Club has released a statement over a racist post made about FIVEaa on Twitter after the game on Saturday night. The club saying there is simply no room for racism online or anywhere else.
Yeah, it really is disgusting.
It is.
For people of colour who have to keep going through this, it's so hard to comprehend.
Yeah, exactly right, David.
Note to self, the use of the expression people of colour these days is bordering on being unacceptable. Might be an idea to drop it. But I've got to say, I love FIVEaa.
Oh, he was outstanding on Saturday night. The thing about this racist Twitter comment is that it was a Twitter account that was started for the express purpose of making a racist comment.
Yeah, that's right.
And what happens is, of course, people then retweet it to their followers and say, how bad is this? And then they retweet it to their followers and say, how bad is this? And then the newspapers print it and then we talk about it.
Yeah, that's right, Will. It would be a lot better for everybody if we just ignored it.
Well, this is just what the original tweeter wanted, is for everybody to see the comment.
Yeah, that's right. It's just total attention-seeking behaviour.
Yep, that's right.
What we're doing isn't attention-seeking behaviour because obviously we're just reporting what happened.
Oh, that's right.
The idea of copying the message and then distributing it is really weird, isn't it?
Well, some might say that's just what we're doing, David.
Well, we're not saying what the comment was.
Well, no, but maybe it has to start somewhere, David, so why don't you and I just ignore it and then at least we've curtailed one step of the ever-growing chain of information.
Oh, but that'd be irresponsible broadcasting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
If we'd been the first people to see the message, we wouldn't have told anyone.
That's not entirely true, is it, David?
It's not, Will, no.
Well, that's the pickle we were trying to sort of unpack, isn't it?
And it's the same question we asked David Kosh.
Yeah.
And Kosh's answer
What do you
was
do?
we had a discussion about whether we actually say anything about it or not.
I was interested to read this morning comments from the federal government. They've got this new cybersecurity piece of legislation they want to get through that would direct these social media companies to take down offending posts. That, to me, feels like too little too late. It's been up.
Yeah,
it's been seen by everyone. Surely the legislation needs to be, if you want to post, you got to provide a driver's license and I don't care what else, a tax file number, whatever it might well be. You got to identify yourself.
We used
if you want to comment publicly.
I used to work at this opinion website that was pretty loose and would do it was deliberately quite, a freewheeling environment so that people could get on there and talk about whatever they liked. But we got to the point where, because we had quite a few pollies who submitted opinion pieces to it, and a lot of regular columnists, and just basically anyone could write for it. We didn't pay anyone. If you wanted to say something, as long as the only criteria was, have you got something interesting to say? Are you passionate about it? And can you have a bit of a crack when you write it? Write with gusto and spirit and generate a conversation. We got to the point where we decided not to run articles about things like whether burqas should be banned or not, or if we did, to disable comments. Because it was like a red rag to a bull. The moment, and the problem was, all the people commenting were called, Whacker 36 or Dingbat 29 and it was like just relentlessly uncivilized because you didn't know who they were.
Yeah, that's
and we had a discussion about, do we actually say to people, if you don't register with your real name, you're not allowed to comment? And we thought, well, if we do that, no one will read the website and a lot of people won't take part. But it's hugely fraught. And even like the most smaller liberal news organisation on the planet, the Washington Post, they set up an opinion section on their website about 10 years ago and said, okay, go for it, but we don't want any hate speech. They shut it down within 3 days. There's something about anonymity, and it's almost like the rule that you're prepared to be much ruder in email form
than face-to-face. Yeah, it's the extension of that.
But this is worse because, at least with emails, they know who you are. With this, you could be anyone.
Now, we've got to the bottom of the census number issue. If the number, if you don't have a form or didn't get a form, is different. So if you don't have a census form, grab your pen, pencil, put it on your phone, whatever it might well be, 1800 512 441. 1800 512 441. That's if you don't have a form at all, if you just didn't get one. If you got a general question, it's the other number, but it sounds like the vast majority of inquiries we're getting this morning for people who say they didn't get the form and they legitimately didn't get it, unlike me who just thought I didn't get it. 1-800,
There's a separate number for that, I think.
1-800 512 441. Yeah, that one's 1-800 stupid.
1-800 get your act together.
Baths. They come in dozens of styles, but it's not a proper bath unless it covers your toes, knees and chest. If you're planning your dream bathroom and what you want isn't on your selections list, ask for ABK Supplies, Adelaide Bathroom and Kitchen Supplies. As a local independent specialist, ABK Supplies has a large range of brands, not just the ones your builder is stuck with. Ask for ABK Supplies. Go to abksupplies.com.au or see the showroom at Lower North East Road opposite Dernacourt Village.
There was a time when I'd put up with overcooked steak. I'd look for the least expensive meal on the menu, and yet I'd pay over the odds for the sake of fashion. I was even prepared to drink cheap wine once. But you reach a stage in life when you're no longer prepared to compromise, and that's why I choose Call Me Continence products. Drier, more comfortable, more discreet. Call Me. CORMIE. Confidence without compromise.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 85 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
Say hello confidence in the new Tiguan, now available at Solitaire Volkswagen. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Yeah, we're a minute away from 9 o'clock. We've got a text from the Finance Minister, Simon Birmingham. He apologised, he couldn't quite make it, but his excuse is a reasonable one. If you're in a meeting with the Prime Minister about the running of the country, I think we're to give you a pass.
Well, I wrote back to him saying, how dare you, putting the Prime Minister before Adelaide Talkback Radio. What sort of a lame excuse is that?
You're right. He's got his hierarchy out of whack, doesn't he?
The path to the lodge runs straight through the studio, Will.
Exactly right. Well, he'll make it up to us tomorrow then, I suspect.
Better.
Yeah, we'll talk financial assistance for South Australian businesses then. We talked about it a bit anyway in his absence. Leon Biner is coming up. He's back on deck this morning, which is tremendous. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6. We'll catch you then.